more like politically biased and kind of like alienating. I think that if they continue on their yes, because especially when you see the community manager's tweets, have you seen that? Yeah, so we need to address that tonight, I think. But like, let's go into the background here first. So I used to, I they were like one of the two shows that I watched on The Escapist. The other one being Zero Punctuation. And what? No, fuck Movie Bob. No. I thought that they made pretty good content. They actually were the ones that got me to check out Spec Ops: The Line.
Oh, I've heard good things about that game.
I think that they did a video series talking about Spec Ops: The Line, and what they described of it made me really want one of my favorite games that I've ever played, like story-wise. So they did a great job analyzing that game and point out great. And then they did a really great video or two on Call of Juarez, the cartel, and going over the various issues in that game. One of them being at least that I can remember, being a factually inaccurate depiction of human trafficking. Now, I actually care a lot about this issue, and I am writing a book series that focuses human trafficking in the city of Atlanta. And a lot of people, when they hear about
Sorry,
it,
you cut off. What city?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh.
So because it's a major issue in that city, actually, especially because the airport that we have in Atlanta is the busiest in the world, and so there's like a major transportation hub to like get girls flown into here and then get pimped back. Or there will be like events like Dragon Con. There will be business events and whatnot that cause us to like fly in through here.
I'm not sure if Evan's hearing the same thing I am, but judging from the comments, everything else is, you are a robot.
You know, he has the thing where he sometimes does have the roboting. It's just a thing that it's okay. We can work around it. It's not a problem.
I mean, you guys are robot at least, so it might just be that my connection is not that good. Let me try something real quick.
Let me see if the bitrate is not too high.
I'm going to switch to an Ethernet connection.
Okay, how about I set it to 60? Maybe this will stop it.
Well, Salad, that's because you need to get your bloody ears checked. I didn't ask your opinion. Bugger off.
Yes, Salad, go hang out with your friend Ranch.
Let's see.
Should I pull up the wonderful and amazing tweet after we watch the video or before?
Let's go with after. Okay.
All right, I'll have it saved. I'll have it queued up afterwards.
Do I sound any better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, human trafficking, huge deal for me. It's like my pet cause, you know. And Call of Juarez, the cartel, made it was a game that had a very factually inaccurate depiction of it, where they would say that Mexicans were coming into America, kidnapping American women, and then smuggling them into Mexico to pimp out. And then, but the reality of that actually is that girls are being taken from Mexico over the border into America and being pimped out in America. So Call of Juarez, the cartel, basically propagated the like complete opposite of what the truth is, and extra credits called them out for it, and it was great. Now, so over time, I've just kind of like lost interest in the content that they were producing. But I noticed that they got more and more of a political bent, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, like you're allowed to have political opinions and to be outspoken about them. And I'm not even necessarily like that far from being aligned with them on a lot of issues. but it wasn't the content that I was interested in watching from them, you know? Especially because if I want to watch something political, there's other commentators that I think do a better job with that kind of stuff. So what we have pulled up here is one of their better videos from way back in the day. I think that this was from 2012, where they were talking about the whole controversy around violent video games, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in this video specifically, they were referring to a canceled video game called 6 Days in Fallujah that was going to be a military shooter that was set during the real Battle of Fallujah. And there was an outcry against it, like a backlash, basically. And this video showed like for the video game 6 Days in Fallujah.
No, but why?
Because
Why
it was
did we care?
because it was depicting real events. And so what Fox News did was, I think it was Fox and Friends, they got like a couple of people. I think one of them was actually the mother of a US soldier who was killed in that battle, and doing the whole pearl clutching over, oh, you know, I'm going to be there's going to be this video game where that depicts the events where my son died, and the guy from the studio that was developing this game didn't do a good job with this, especially because he was kind of like outnumbered. Like Fox and Friends did a really fucking horrible biased coverage of this game, and as a result of the video of the interview, like basically the game lost a lot of support and got canceled. Okay,
That's a bunch of bullshit.
This was a video game that was actually being supported by and like there were veterans from that battle that were consulting on the game, that wanted the game to be made. But there was this whole, because you know how the right wing would used to be back in the day about violent video games, you know, and so this video that we're about to play right here, this little clip, is the last couple minutes or so of this video that they did on facing controversy and how to stand up for games as a medium. So what I want us to do is, if we can like just stay quiet and play the video, and then we'll let the chat just hear out what they're saying. This is what extra credits used to be, guys. This was actually like the really good shit that they would put out
Before they went off the deep end.
Yeah. So, we ready?
Hey, whoa. Hey. I went off the deep end, okay? These guys found the Mariana Trench, dug it a bit deeper, slammed on some rock packs, and went swimming.
Oh, and they dropped a nuclear bomb in there first, just to make it a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right.
Let's begin. Ready? Let's hear it. I'll keep myself silent.
Okay. I'm gonna hit play. Okay.
Go ahead.
It's not letting me.
It's not working?
Play. Yeah, no.
That's weird. Okay, I'll do it then.
Yeah, that is going to happen. We need to learn to stand up without fear and embrace what our medium...
I'm sorry. What's wrong with the voice?
Well, this is how he sounds.
No, so this is the original host, Daniel Floyd, and he was a narrator.
Is he the one that quit?
He just sped up his voice, that's all.
But is he the one of the ones that quit?
Yes. So we're going to get into that before we address the abortion later on. Okay, but let's just like shut up and watch this video.
I'll keep myself silent.
Become, and what it has the potential to be. We can't keep marginalizing ourselves by pretending we only craft products for children. We are not toy makers. Our work can mean so much more than that. Now, I'm going to quote James word for word here, because this is good stuff. This will take real courage from within our industry. It will take the bravery to face critique and the fortitude to weather outcry. It will ask that we expose ourselves to short-term financial risk and that we don't back down from early losses, firm in the knowledge that we are doing right. We will have to be steadfast under the scrutiny of the world and resolute when we are asked to justify ourselves in the court of public opinion.
I'm just going to pause so you don't get copyrighted. So,
I don't think that
This
we
all sounds
could
nice.
get copyrighted on a YouTube video, though. That's like
They
not.
can claim it.
You underestimate the stupidity of the YouTube content ID bot.
By the way, what we're looking at right here, this screenshot here, that's the Fox and Friends.
I can't believe they did that. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, you've got the guy on the top and those three screens to the right. That's the guy from the studio, and then.
Well, hold up. From a business standpoint,
Then-
I
Well,
really
could you
understand.
please, like, stop interrupting me. I can't remember who the guy in the middle there is, but the bitch on the bottom, that's the person that was like, "Oh, my son died in Fallujah, and this game offends me and shit." And it was really tiz me.
From a business standpoint, I get why mainstream media would go against this for the simple fact that this was back in 2001, like 2008 or something like that. When was this video made?
Something like that, I think. I think it was like 2009.
Okay, actually, this was
9 to 10.
2012 that this was made, but that probably means the event happened before then. And back then, gamers were still a very small minority amongst groups.
That were often demonized.
Yeah, and so I get why the mainstream would take this stance for the simple fact that most of their viewers would probably go against the mainstream.
Well, also,
against that gamers.
We're talking about Fox News' 70-year-old plus viewership that likes to get offended over shit like Harry Potter and video games.
Yeah, but I'm looking through this, and MSNBC had an article on it, so did CNN.
Jeez. But you got to think about it, though. I mean, that's kind of 180 now, or rather, it's repeated itself because gamers are demonized now for being alt-right bigots.
It's just now they're in the majority.
It's kind of funny, if you think about it.
All right, let's just continue the video.
Go ahead.
Shit, I can't.
It will ask that for the moment
got it.
we give up ease. But if we can do this, we can do good, real good with our medium. If we do this, we can expand the industry and bring whole new genres within the purview of games. If we do this, we can turn a greater profit while providing more meaningful experiences and reach audiences hitherto unthinkable. If we do this, we can perhaps elevate some small portion of our labor to an art. But if we do this, we will no longer be able to pretend as if what we do doesn't matter. If we do this, we can never go back to the way it was before. Damn, James. Nice. What I'm saying is this. We can't run at every controversy, or hide behind the mantra, "we're just making games" anymore. If we are to grow as a medium and evolve into something with the social, artistic, and commercial reach of other mass media, we must be willing to stand up as an industry and defend works of merit, rather than meekly abandon them whenever objections are raised. In the words of the ex-ESA president Doug Lowenstein, push the envelope, and don't duck and cover when the shit hits the fan. Stand up and defend what you make. Whatever you may think about 6 Days in Fallujah, you have to give the guys at Atomic credit. They took a risk and stuck to their guns when the going got tough. I hope there are more game developers out there who have the guts to follow that example. And I speak for James, Allison, and myself when I say, to everyone at Atomic, wherever you guys are, we salute you.
I'm sorry, just a moment. If you haven't already, go into the comment section of this video and go to newest first.
Yeah.
Oh! Let's go look.
You really should have taken your own advice in this video. Facing controversy is what you'll be doing today.
All right, let's read some of these.
Well,
It's aged like fine yogurt.
It aged like milk.
Let's see. Yeah, you should have really taken your own advice. Hypocrites. Just wanted to come back to this video and consider the enormous 180 you extra creditors made.
I presume this applies to everything except World War II because all Germans are Nazis, right?
Yes, of course.
God. We're gonna have to get into that. So that was, now let's be fair here. That was a different crew that made that video. So the guy that wrote that, James, he actually got the boot about a year ago because he, I guess that one of the people that was working on the show was his ex. Like they were involved, and then I guess that they broke up, and then he would basically try to put herself on like to put her like on projects working with him, and that was his attempt to like get her back. It backfired, and then he would basically just berate her and harass her over email. She would block him, and then he would like use a different email. She would block that. Then he would use like a different coworker's email to continue harassing her, and then finally she quit. So then they basically shit canned James, and he's no longer working on the show. So he didn't write this video. But and then Daniel Floyd, he actually left because of James's behavior as well. So the guy that is narrating the video that we're about to watch is not the same guy that did this.
It sounds different.
High pitched, yeah. So it's a different crew. So you have to keep that in mind. Like, it's not a case of it like outright hypocrisy where you have the same person saying two completely contradictory things, but they basically passed their brand down to people that didn't have the same principles as well, how the original people started out with, right?
Well,
so of course the fans are going to feel betrayed by the latest video.
This sounds to me, and it kind of reminds me of one of Google's main. Have you ever read their, what do you call it, mission statement or whatever? One of the things they say is just don't be evil, like, which is they don't deal with evil people or stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then they
is that the leaked one or the actual one?
That's the actual one.
Okay.
And that got called into question when they allowed China to censor, like have a censored Google, because you're assisting an evil government to do evil things. So it's just like, eventually you're going to change just so you can make more money. Which I don't blame them for that. But I think Google did it because China is a big market and they can make lots of money. I am not certain why these people did it. The social justice field is not large and well funded.
But all of the Silicon Valley tech giants are behind them.
I guess. Are they owned by Disney or anything like that? Or
some are. I mean, look at Maker. Look at what is it called?
No,
Maker.
I'm asking these guys. Are they owned or sponsored by any of those people?
I'm not sure.
I know that Daniel Floyd, I think that he worked in Pixar, but I don't think that really means anything as to like how, like, whether Disney actually owns extra credits. There's a minor association there, but that's about it.
Okay.
Oh, I just got a comment on here. Oh wow, E-Man, I'm jealous. You got Chris Stuckman and a dog to join you. I didn't even know they did those. Okay, so are we ready to get the brain aneurysm going?
Yeah.
Yep, let's get ready for some tism.
All right.
There you are, playing the PvP in your World War II shooter, and all of a sudden, you're a Nazi. You didn't die.
Just like that.
Just like that. Right off the bat.
You
right
have
off
to
the bat.
admit, as openings go, that's pretty good.
I mean, you could honestly like make that into like a meme.
There you are, just eating your breakfast, eating your cereal Captain Crunch, when suddenly, bam, you're a Nazi.
If I didn't know what
you
was
didn't
the rest
ask
of
for this.
Like, just imagine like the Deus Ex meme where he's like, I never asked for this.
No, but if I didn't know like the rest of this was gonna be, I would have thought it was like the beginning of some right-wing thing where they're going to go on about how ridiculous social justice warriors are. So if I just saw that part, just like, oh, right, this is going to be a funny meme video, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, wait. Is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
Well, yeah. I mean, you could also apply this to, like, the fucking Battlefront games, you know?
You mean Battlefield?
No, Battlefront. Like, you're just minding your own business, playing a PvP game, when suddenly you're playing as a stormtrooper.
Bam! You're a space Nazi. Oh, wait! This goes both ways! Bam, you're a space Nazi, but if you're playing for the rebels, bam! You're a space terrorist.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, what happens if I'm playing as the droids in Battlefront 2?
Bam, you're a NPC.
Bam, you're a drone.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so I mean, there's this concept of there are good guys and there are bad guys, and to get to play as the good guys, sometimes you're gonna have to play as the bad guys too. Everyone gets to play both the good guys and the bad guys.
I don't really. I think he talks about it later in the video, so I don't really want to go into it right now. But calling German soldiers the bad guys is such a huge generalization that it is to the point of absurdity.
Hmm.
I think that, in World War II,
There are some gray areas in there, but I think we should wait till we get to that part of the video when then I can bring it up.
I would say that, okay, I'm not saying that all Germans were Nazis, but it's a good thing that the Germans lost World War II. And that's like,
Yes.
that's what I mean here.
Yeah,
okay?
I
It's
mean,
like
if Hitler carried out his final solution, I wouldn't even be alive right now.
Yeah, in the context of World War II, I'm not sure if I would even be alive
Damn,
right
I
now.
wish you would.
Oh.
In the context of World War II, the Germans were quote unquote the bad guys. Like, just to put it in simplified terms here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing as, like, I mean, did you guys ever play like Cowboys and Indians when you were kids?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so like
Or Cops and Robbers,
or cops. Okay, yeah, cops and robbers is even better because like nowadays, like Cowboys and Indians, oh, that's offensive. It's Cowboys and Native Americans, or like a lot of people say that Cowboys are the good guys when they're the colonizers, and the Native Americans are the good guys. Like blah blah blah, But yeah, cops and robbers, perfect example. Someone's got to play the robbers. Someone gets to play the cops.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to have maybe someone play the Antifa Black Lives Matter supporters,
See, here's my translation from all this, just from what I know is going to happen later on. All that. When I play Battlefield 2 as an American soldier, if I'm white, I immediately am racist towards black people. That's just.
Oh, and if I play as a Japanese soldier, I instantly want to bayonet the nearest person.
Kamikaze!
No.
Isn't
Kamikaze is with the planes. When they scream with the bayonets, that was Banzai!
Wait a minute, isn't there actually like some type of a multiplayer Civil War game that Angry Joe like?
Yeah, I saw that.
On?
He played
so,
that.
Yeah. So you're going to be playing like half of the time you are going to be playing on the side of the people that are fighting for their rats to own slaves. Okay,
So that's pretty bad.
You just reminded me.
Bad.
I spent years of my life playing Napoleonic Wars for Mount and Blade.
It's called the game is called War of Rights.
Apparently, I served Napoleon.
Oh, that's a terrible comment. Oh my god. I just got it in the chat. He said, playing as a Japanese soldier makes me want to sing Nanking. Oh my god.
On the other hand, playing as an American soldier makes me want to nuke Japan. So, Though to be fair, I already want to nuke Japan, so that not much of a day.
Yeah, anime was a mistake. Let's all agree on that.
Anyways, let's keep going.
I'm sorry to keep this going for so long.
Ask for
Southpaw.
this.
Two
nukes choose this.
2 nukes weren't enough.
Yet there it is. And it's
Wait,
treated differently.
Wait, hold on.
Can we?
Were those supposed to be Germans?
Yeah, Arch Warhammer
playing a
made
British
this point, but like, can you see it on your screen or?
No, you have to go back a bit.
Okay, you go back and do it so that the people watching can do it. But these are not.
These are Germans? Like, I mean,
I'm seeing the Iron Cross on the one's hat on the right.
I see them. They have the stale hand grenades. They have the similar pouches on their bodies. Very dirty looking though.
Iron Cross is not a German.
Look, that one. Look, the one on the left has like this green stuff smeared on his face. The one on the right has some blue stuff smeared on his face. the officer doesn't even have the armband, which would, I mean, to be fair, I don't know. It's up to them, but we'll get into that later. But he doesn't even have the armband like most officers did.
But no, if you're looking for iconography right now, they're using the wrong weapons.
Mm-hmm.
They're using the wrong ammo. The Iron Cross has been used by over a dozen European nations over time.
I'm not saying that the Iron Cross is a German symbol, but it was used by the Germans in World War II.
Yeah, it was also used by the French.
Yeah, but I mean, like, do these guys look French or do they look German? Because they
don't look like either.
They look like a bunch of they look like a bunch of like hobos.
They're cosplaying Americans.
Yes, they're like cosplayers. That's what it feels like, honestly. I mean, the German uniforms is supposed to be like a grayish color, right? A dark gray color or something like that. I think.
It varied between dark gray and black.
And that's not to say that there should be like Nazi symbols painted all over them, because obviously that wasn't how the uniforms were. But
this isn't Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, to be fair though, the Wolfenstein armor designs are pretty sick.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's keep going.
So, yeah.
Can I continue?
Yeah, good going.
Yet there it is. And it's treated no differently than playing a British soldier.
Okay, pause it. Okay. So here's the thing. This is a PvP game. You're not playing a single player game that is saying, you're trying to depict Nazism as sympathetic. You're playing literally just a PvP game where you're going to care a lot more about your kill death ratio and how many kills you're getting before you die than you are going to care about the ideology of the faction that you are role playing as.
Mm-hmm.
This is retarded. It's literally a multiplayer game.
Yeah, like, I mean...
Okay, what your character believes in does not matter. Your character doesn't even have a name. I go into a game, my character is named Southpaw LP. He's not named fucking Nom Carver or some shit like from Battlefront 2. His name is Southpaw LP. That's my character's name, okay? I don't have a fucking... The character doesn't have a history.
I have
literally a vehicle for me to control to kill other people.
I'm just imagining right now, like one of those narrators for History Channel, Southpaw LP and his squad of E-Man gameplay and AlyntheQuestseeker advanced quickly across the field to fight. They ran into the squad led by I Like Butts 69.
He viciously screamed. He viciously used a common method of psychological warfare, repeatedly screaming, "Your mum gay."
Follow.
Now I almost want to just like actually buy Battlefield 5 just so I
don't
no. I want to make a documentary like this, like a fucking Ken Burns style video that straight up does what Alan just suggested, like
the horror that the Germans knew no bounds as the American soldiers promptly defiled their corpse by teabagging.
This footage was captured with GoPro cameras that were developed in the 1930s.
By the way, if you look in the general VC tech stock chat, I posed it with what the average German would be wearing in the army. It doesn't look anything. Like, if you could bring that up, Eman, for the audience, that looks nothing like what they're showing.
You know
yeah.
what's funny is I haven't been like keeping up to date on E-Man server, so when I clicked on the VC Text Talk, it just showed me a picture of fucking Seamus Gorman. So I was like, I was about to say, I'm pretty sure that's not what they were wearing. Okay.
The average German soldier in World War II. Anyway, so yeah. Anyways, I just wanted to show you that uniform, and what I kind of wanted to bring up was he said you act like the German soldiers and the British soldiers were essentially the same. In any war that you do, especially in that one, The soldiers essentially were the same. Like German and British soldiers were equipped very similarly. They had similar battle tactics. The tanks were comparable, although I think German tanks were slightly weaker in armor but had heavier guns. So essentially,
And
the
if you
soldiers
want to get
were
it,
the same. What was different was the politics.
Mm-hmm.
But to the average soldier, they didn't give a shit about politics.
Like, here's
It's
the
just
thing,
there.
though. In the eyes of these soldiers, I mean, like it's like you know, the whole war, like the deeper meaning of like, oh, we're all just part of the machine. We're just an expendable tool for our commanders to use, that kind of thing. I don't think they cared. I don't think the riflemen really cared that much about the ideology of. I mean, maybe some of them did, but like at the end of the day, they're gonna try and kill me. I have to survive.
In the end, each of the soldiers, once the battle started, it doesn't matter what their ideologies are, it doesn't matter what they're fighting for. They are essentially just two men trying to kill each other.
Yeah, a lot of the soldiers in World War II on both sides were drafted or conscripted.
Oh, did you just say both sides? Centrist alert! Centrist alert!
I mean, I can bring up a picture of you, like, of over 100 German nurses who were raped, then brutally murdered by American and British soldiers.
Oh my god.
I'm actually going to be a little biased just because I am quarter German. Actually, not quarter German. I'm quarter Colombian.
By the way, you need to kick Octor because he's posting the VC text talk without being in
let
here.
me tell him. I didn't see that. Hold on.
But yeah, I mean, I'm fully British, so I don't really give a shit about the Germans. But
no, I mean, I have a very German last name, so my heritage is very much German, but I am 100% American. So, but yeah, no, I just fuck, I don't know. I don't. I've forgotten very much of World War II history. I'm not going to be very knowledgeable on that front. Sorry, E-Man.
Oh, don't worry. I teach it.
For real?
Oh, well, great.
I've been tutoring people for 6, 8, 7 years.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Great. Well, we have a great source here. I'm glad you came.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let me tell you, the Nazis were bad. All right, that's prerequisite with that.
Yeah,
the Nazis were bad.
Yeah, the Nazis are bad guys.
All right, r/gaming circle jerk. If you're watching this, we just want to get that out of the way. The Nazis are bad. You can go back to talking shit about gamers now.
Hold on. Let's not make it feel token. At least 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust, and then some few million other different types of minorities did. Like, that all happened. They were atrocious people. We're not defending them. We're not normalizing them. We're just responding to a retarded video that is talking about how you're a bad person if you think that video games set in World War II should allow you to play as the Germans on
It's like, I mean, this kid gets like, it's such a slippery slope too, but we'll get into that as the video progresses.
Well, who the fuck should we be allowed to play as when we're not playing as the Allies in a World War II game? Are they suggesting
a bunch of aliens?
Are they suggesting don't make World War II games? Or are they suggesting just make zombie
But
World
then
War II
you can
games?
extend that. Then you can extend that where what happens even if I'm playing a strategy game where, let's say I'm playing a strategy game where I'm controlling large armies of troops, like a Total War game, and it's the Civil War. So the two choices of sides are the Union or the Confederacy. And if it's a multiplayer game, so head on, somebody's gonna have to be the Confederacy.
No, like I literally just mentioned a few minutes ago that Angry Joe live streamed him playing, I think, as the Confederates in a.
He was playing as the state of Texas.
It was a multiplayer Civil War first-person shooter, and so like those things are like, there is a game like that exists where you can play as the Confederates and fight on the side of secession and owning slaves. And so, and don't fucking tell me that it was about states' rights or some shit. My dad is one of the biggest Civil War buffs in the world. He has like an entire library of just Civil War and Abraham Lincoln books alone. the South it wanted fucking slavery. The Civil War was about slavery. Let's just get that out of the way as well. Okay. But there's nothing wrong with playing a Civil War shooter and playing on. I mean, like, even if people choose to play on the South, I don't like really give a shit. There's got to be people that play on the South. Like, obviously, I think that the only like way to have a game like that function is if you just make that involuntary. I don't think that I'm pretty sure that most people would rather play as the Union than as the South, because Union were the good guys in that war, and despite doing some atrocious stuff.
Well, here's the thing. So Southpaw, it gets into the slippery slope, which I think he does bring up in the later video. Like, I mean, in some universes or settings, like the bad guys have the cooler stuff.
Oh, absolutely. And yes, Ken Kaneki, playing as a bad guy doesn't make you a bad guy. Yeah. That applies in Red Dead Redemption, in Infamous, in Grand Theft Auto.
Do you think because I like playing as Chaos in Warhammer that I automatically want to maim and kill and burn everybody? Yeah. Come on.
Guys,
like,
I thought we learned this lesson.
Yeah, the bad guys are sometimes cooler. The Nazis had cool uniforms.
Yeah, the Stormtroopers in Star Wars, they have cool uniforms.
Yeah, Thanos is a cool villain. The Joker is a cool villain. Like, evil can be really cool, and it can be just fun to just play as the bad guy. And like, I mean, E-Man, have you looked at the extra credits subreddit? There was a person that pointed out that he had, I think, a father or a grandfather who lived in Nazi-occupied Germany, and after the Nazis lost the war, him and his friends would role play World War II, and some of them would have to play the Nazis, and they would go like really in detail and in depth with their role playing, like full on doing the Nazi salutes and going Zig Heil and shit, and then the goose stepping. And it's like, this is what kids that grew up under Nazi oppression did, who lost friends and family and loved ones to the Nazis. This is what they did after the war. It's like,
the thing is, people don't realize, like, little kids like playing around and doing the Nazi salute as a joke at that time. Like, that's not an endorsement of the ideology. They're mocking it.
Absolutely not.
It's sort of like that guy in Scotland who taught his pug to do the Nazi salute.
Yes, that would be Count Dankula.
Yeah.
It's mocking them. That's the point.
Yes, like, the only one should be offended by that, or like, well, I mean, maybe a Holocaust survivor might be, but like the only one who should be offended is like people who are neo-Nazis who think that ideology is good.
Honestly, like, if I had the mental fortitude to do it, and I knew enough German, or I could do a solid German accent, I would love to play a World War II game, and every time I'm on the German side, I would have like a comically exaggerated German accent and just like shout all the time. Like, that would be a fun thing to do, like, especially if I'm doing it with like other people, and we're doing it back and forth, and we're like actually role playing it. That would be extremely fun. That's fun to think about. You know, I have a brother who, like, him and his friends, they would do something similar, but like they would basically go on some game. It wasn't a Star Wars game, but they would go like, Red 1 standing by, Red Leader standing by, blah, blah. And they would like get the enemy team riled up when they would hear them saying this before the game. And it was really
sounds like
funny.
War Thunder.
Yeah, I mean, they're just like having a time, like role playing as, you know, people they're taking this too seriously. And again, I don't think that people that like get really in character. Again, that's not an endorsement of the ideology. It's not an endorsement of what these people were. Now, there's another thing that I want to touch upon here is like, I don't think that it's a very good idea to pretend that the Nazis were like not human and they were just complete monsters and they were what?
He does, like, I mean, I don't want to bring this up, but like, doesn't this person try to say that later on when we wait till we get there?
I do want to say,
really? Okay.
We've been talking about on this video for about 20 minutes, and we're 20 seconds.
We're only 20 seconds
so this
in.
This is a good start.
This is a good start.
We're discount EFAP, okay? We have to
make it long.
But I think we should maybe go on to the next point.
Okay, let's go.
I'm sorry, South. It's just because, I mean, we might get through all of our points in the video. We won't have any left.
Let's go ahead.
This is bad on so many levels. No one should ever have a
Thank you for
random
telling
chance
us.
of fighting for the Nazis. And we should never...
Does this land on? That just land on Nick Cage? That was weird.
So, a random chance of fighting for the Nazis. Don't you get to pick your teams in most games? Like, you can look
Unless
at the
there's like a
population
forced rebalance.
Not necessarily, no. Like, I think that generally speaking in games like this, it'll be like random. Sometimes you play as the Nazis, sometimes you play as the Allies.
Yeah.
Like it's just that like in Battlefront 2 at least, they make it so that you will play on the same map as both the light side and the dark side, whichever era
Every
you're
round.
playing in. Yeah.
Okay.
ever express that there's no meaningful difference between Nazis and Allied soldiers, or that they're functionally interchangeable. And before anyone
Pause. Pause.
Well,
They are functionally interchangeable. They live.
It's a video game.
They live. They run. They hold guns. They shoot the guns. They shoot the guns at other people and kill them. And then sometimes, if they're not lucky enough, they die because they get shot. They are functionally, in a video game, the same. We're not talking. We're not okay. We're not playing this PvP multiplayer to explore their ideologies. This isn't a PvP to have these different ideologies debate each other. They're literally running around and shooting and killing each other, and that is it.
And
It's
added
war.
to that, if you took a standard squad of German infantry and a standard squad of like British infantry and gave them each other's weapons and uniforms, I doubt you could tell much of a difference between them. Besides that, one side still spoke German. Like, I hate to break it to this guy, but standard infantrymen are pretty like standard across most nations. Pretty interchangeable.
The only thing I would, the only
definitely
counter to
different.
that, only counter to that would be if like it was like an American all African American regiment.
Yeah, like
that would be like wait, why are they in German uniforms? That would be questionable.
Obviously, I feel like a lot of Americans nowadays have this mindset that our soldiers are just better than everyone, which is true. Nowadays, American soldiers are better than all others. But back then, American and British soldiers were at the very least, like the German soldiers were on par with them at the very least.
I mean, the German soldiers like were capable of slaughtering like several Russian soldiers too. Like they were pretty well trained, if I recall correctly, right?
Yeah. So basically, while this guy's saying that no, they're not. Yes, they are. Like if you're looking at purely their equipment and their tactics, a British soldier and a German soldier could be swapped in a heartbeat, and you wouldn't notice the difference.
Okay.
Now, if we're talking about ideology, that's a completely different thing. But in what part of Battlefield do you deal with ideology? Ever? Do you ever sit down and have a political debate with the other soldiers?
The only time that could happen is if like in one of the campaign missions.
That's
but we've already
literally
established
what
that
I
DICE is like brain dead when it comes to writing anything. So, I mean, you guys don't disagree, do you? Like DICE is like really bad
No,
at writing anything.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't like really played much of their single player.
Oh
stuff
lord,
outside of
Battlefront 2 single player is
No,
one of
no,
the
hey,
most
you
horrible.
You cut me off.
Whoa,
You
whoa,
cut me off. You cut me off.
Oh, okay. Go
That
ahead.
is the one single player of theirs that I've played, and yes, it is a very bad first impression. I haven't played any of their other single player.
Southpaw.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would suggest you don't yell, considering you've cut E-Man off 3 times now. I've counted. Anyways,
Aylin, please. We don't need to fight.
How many
I'm
times
just
have
pointing
you guys cut me off in streams?
twice. I've cut you off twice.
No, more than that.
Nope, twice. I can go back and show you if you like.
Aylin, please. I don't want us fighting.
Yeah, I'm just pointing out that when there is time lag involved, and there's about 3-4 second time lag for each of our voices to reach each other, as well as all of us having things to say and wanting to say things, we should also consider that at times we're going to talk over each other, and you just kind of have to deal with it.
Well, also,
Right, I'm sorry, Southpaw.
Yeah, well, sorry. It's just that when I literally am about to start by saying the only one that I've played is Battlefront 2, and I get cut off before I can even say that, that's where I get frustrated. I'm like, no, let me finish.
Okay.
So
Well, when the EA controversy with the loot boxes thing, I just refused to buy the game. I just watched it on YouTube, and oh my god, I wanted my time back. It was so bad. It was just like, ugh. Like,
okay.
DICE doesn't know what they're doing, but hey, details.
Can I go on a little tangent here
Sure.
for a brief second? So Battlefront 2, yes, it like when the game was going through the early release thing before the wide release, it was a pay to win multiplayer.
Piece of garbage.
And I canceled my pre-order because of that, and then they took that stuff out. So then I ended up buying it anyways, and I played it, and I made a lot of friends while playing it, and had a lot of fun, actually, despite the issues that the game had. They steadily improved the game. Within a few months, they actually revamped their progression system to make it a lot better and not rely on any of the loot boxes. And, like, I never felt like it was actually a pay-to-win game when I was playing it myself. A lot of people are dealing with this misperception because of the PR disaster that they were like dealing with at launch, and that's understandable. But there is a lot of misinformation that is spread about that game.
No, I don't think it's pay to win anymore. Obviously not. Because they took them out. I knew they took them out. I still didn't want to buy it because I heard it was lackluster. That's all.
I mean, yeah.
Have they ever not been?
I mean, I think it's a pretty fun.
I mean, they pulled the bait and switch that is. So, but you know, that's subjective. I guess we can all disagree on what we don't like and what we do.
Maybe it's just been because I'm not a big first-person shooter player, but what makes one different from the other? They all seem essentially the same to me.
Heretic.
I mean, most likely, you know, quality of their hitboxes, quality of maps. I mean, the designs of the maps in general.
Controls, animations, the tightness of the controls.
In Battlefront's case, it's fun because you get a chance to play as a Jedi or Darth Vader and slaughter entire like groups of people by yourself. And it's pretty awesome. You know, like
or get hit by a rocket.
Like that was the reason why I like tolerated Battlefront 2, even in its rougher stages.
Awesome
was
music.
you could I could play as motherfucking Darth Vader and have my you know that was very fun.
Couldn't you only play Darth Vader after like buying a loot box or something?
No,
that was originally what it was. Like they did this thing where they put it behind a wall, but then they took it out.
They changed it after the backlash, which like that change came before the wide release, before I bought it. I bought it after they said, okay, we're not going to do this paywall thing.
Okay.
$40 to play as everyone's favorite Star Wars villain, so then all of them went like, this is a PR nightmare. Change it.
Yeah, it was absolutely horrible, and it's the total opposite of what it is right now, where I think it's like $10, and every character in the game is free.
There was a point I saw, like, maybe last week, the game was only like $4.50.
You know what? If you see it at that price again, just try it out.
I'll definitely get it.
It's worth it.
If it's that cheap.
Like, do you have wait? So what do you game on? Do you game on PS4, PC? Okay, shit. If you game on PS4, I would say shoot me a friend request because that's I don't have a gaming PC. But
I pre-ordered.
What?
I pre-ordered it.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Wait,
really?
do you have the game?
Yes.
On PS4? No.
I own a PC.
Oh, okay.
Well, I have the original Xbox, but
I have that too. It's in my closet.
It's for nostalgic purposes. But anyways, getting back on track. Yes, as harsh as it sounds, German and American soldiers were essentially interchangeable for all functionality and purpose. Move it.
Advocates and says not all German soldiers in World War II were Nazis. If they were wearing the swastika and are functioning as an arm of the Nazi government...
You have not shown a single swastika yet.
They don't want to get demonetized.
All right.
Think of YouTube shill. Think YouTube shill.
Out of its way to tell you specifically that your particular character is not a Nazi, then they're a Nazi. In that multiplayer...
Shows COD
no.
World War II.
So there's this whole thing about how like a lot of Germans were conscripted because Germany being a smaller country than some of the countries that they were fighting against, they needed every able-bodied male to fight, and a lot of those men didn't necessarily agree with Nazi ideology, even if a lot of them did agree. And so, and if they were to rebel and refuse to serve, they would be killed. So
I feel like
it
the
is,
Soviets were more guilty of that than the Germans are in terms of scale.
So I did a quick Wikipedia search, and it looks like about 24% of the German army were actual Nazis.
Those were SS divisions and such, right?
Yeah, officer
Yeah.
corps mostly.
Oh, that too.
Yeah. So the grunts, the rank and file of the German army, weren't necessarily Nazis.
And
They
even
were,
then,
Now, if the Germans had won the war, then maybe they would have slowly phased out the regular soldiers and replaced all of them with the SS at some point.
it would have been
But
like there would have had to have been like generations of
multiple
brainwashing
generations
and
of brainwashing, yeah.
propaganda and allowing the ideology to cultivate a lot further than it ever did.
but at the same time, with that 24%, you have to wonder how much of that was like opportunity thing. Like, I don't really care about your ideology. I don't really believe in it, but I want to get promoted. So, sure, I'll put on the armband. Like, how many of them were that?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I actually know a few American officers who like don't really care about all of the honor crap and all of that. They're just like, yeah, I just wanted a promotion.
Yeah, I'm sure that not every person in the military agrees with like everything that America does or what the president like. I mean, I know I I know someone who works in the Air Force who is very much anti-Trump. Well, she still works in the Air Force under Trump, and that's just how it goes when you work in the military. You don't always agree with your leader, and you don't really have the option to just quit whenever there is someone in charge that you disagree with, because that would not make for a very stable means of living. So,
So yeah, from just this quick Wikipedia search, you can already say that his assumption that the person is a Nazi is bad because there's a 76% chance the person you are playing is not a Nazi. They are just a soldier in the German army.
yeah, and there's also the whole thing where he's saying you are not allowed to assume that your character is not a Nazi. You must assume that your character is a Nazi. Like, why? Why are? Why is that assumption any better than the other?
Apparently, in Battlefield, the German officer corps is the only ones fighting on the front lines. I like that idea.
Battlefield 5?
Well, this game that they're playing right now, what is it on the screen?
That looks like Battlefield 5 to me.
Okay, so that, according to him, Battlefield 5, the German front...
The German what?
The German front line.
Yeah.
Do you not see how ridiculous this is?
No, I mean, I do.
Well, what are you referring to, though?
I don't know how else to explain it. So I just said that 24% of the army was actual Nazis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Majority of that was officer corps.
Uh-huh.
So if this guy is assuming all of these guys we're playing as are Nazis, that means the majority of the German front line is made up of officers. Where are all the regular soldiers?
Yes, that is a problem.
Yeah. All right, let's continue the video, I think.
Shooter, when it switched you to the German side, did it go out of its way to tell you that the person you're playing was pressed into service under threat of their life? Yeah, that's a big old nope.
Pause it!
Oh, and on a
The game also didn't go out of its way to tell you that the person that you're playing is also a Nazi. Like, again, this is such a retarded fucking assumption to make.
Look, Southpaw, when I met you,
Yeah.
You didn't go out of your way to tell me that you weren't a Nazi, okay? So I'm
Maybe
just
that's
gonna
because
have.
I am.
Oh, I guess I should get it out of the way. I just want to make it absolutely very clear, people, that I am not a Nazi.
Look, E-Man, if that was true, you would have told us when I first talked to you today, okay?
Damn it, I have
You
been
would have
found
told
out.
us-
Forgive me, mein Führer!
Yeah. And again, let's just repeat ourselves here in case there is a gaming circle jerker in the chat that missed it the first time. Nazis were bad. They were very bad.
Okay, it's basically like us saying thoughts and prayers after a shooting happens. Okay, it's such a minor thing. Like, it almost feels like it's meaningless to say.
Yeah.
I know that sounds really insensitive, but it's true. It just sounds meaningless to say. The Nazis were bad, okay?
Here's a hot take. The Nazis were mean. They were very not nice, and they were kind of rude, especially to the Jews.
Oh.
They had horrible table manners.
Very horrible table manners.
Though their uniforms.
Jesus, we're going to hell.
Wait a minute. Didn't ContraPoint say that someone that says that they're not a Nazi is probably a Nazi?
That's
Yes.
bullshit.
Isn't that person like taken very seriously by like a lot of the people over
The
on,
intellectual gaming community.
just say liberals. We just don't beat around the bush. You mean liberals? Yes, she is taken seriously. Is it a he or she? I forget.
It's a she.
Sugar Nips just commented. Chris Stuckman with the hot takes. I grew up not being a Nazi. Here is a photo of me being the token white guy in
an
this
all
group of
black neighborhood. Hey, punished berserker. That's misgendering. Don't do that. I don't want to get demonetized.
Yeah,
Wow.
I
Dude.
don't have a problem.
Seriously,
No,
stop.
I don't have a problem with referring to ContraPoints as a woman.
Yeah, I don't really mind. It's just it's mine.
It's
just
not
do
my
it.
fucking business.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing is like, oh my god,
Dude.
no,
I
it's,
don't. Guys, don't argue with how
it is not a big deal. It
See,
is not that big
my
of a deal.
issue is that the description of the channel is ex-philosopher, sex, drugs, and social justice. I don't care if you're a man or woman, but for intro, that's like, okay, sex, drugs, and social justice. That sounds like a lovely combo.
Ugh. She also thinks Jordan Peterson is a sexist old man. So that's.
I mean, he's an old man, so half right.
I don't know. Okay, well, let's get off the topic so we don't fuel the fires any further.
No, I don't think that Jordan Peterson is an old man. I'm pretty sure that he's an old frog of the Kermit's variety.
Oh yes, definitely.
Oh.
Similar note, let's please stop forcing people to play as terrorists as well. There you are, playing your modern shooter, and all of a sudden you're a terrorist.
Okay, whoa, pause it. Okay. I am from so we're talking games like Counter-Strike, Modern Warfare 2 if you play as the Op4, Rainbow 6 it's not like that. Basically any game where you like Counter-Strike is the easy example, right? Because terrorists versus counter-terrorists. Right?
Well, also, what kind of terrorists exactly? There's left-wing terrorism, there's right-wing terrorism, there's terrorism, there's
I mean, the rebels are terrorists in Star Wars.
Technically, yes.
Like, terrorist just means a person who like targets innocent people in the name of a political ideology, and like the idea of like saying, oh well, terrorism is good. Like what are we? What kind of fucking terrorism are we talking about here? Like,
we're talking Islamic terrorism, then I mean that's one. Then there's like just the standard, like the one that the media goes nuts over, straight white male right wing terrorism. Then there's like eco terrorism. Then there's like there's so much types.
I would also point out, Southpaw, that it's not even against civilians. All that terrorism is, it's its unlawful use of violence and intimidation to achieve a political. It doesn't have to be against civilians.
Okay, yeah, sure. I fucked up that part of the definition. You got me.
I'm not trying to get you. I'm just pointing.
No.
There's one more thing to bring up though. I am okay. I am a person. I mean, I'm from Iran. I'm brown-ish, and I'm like, I mean, my family, all my extended family is Muslim, right? Do you think I get upset when I have to play as a terrorist in a video game? Come on. Come on.
Sure that you,
like my friends
no,
in my old server, they called me sand N-word over and over. Like it really wasn't a big deal.
No, I'm pretty sure that you'd be happy to play as a terrorist. Be like, finally, I get to play as some representation.
I am finally amongst my own people.
Bezan bolo, tuye derakhtan, boro.
No, seriously, like even in Battlefront 2, when I will like do a kamikaze attack like into a group of enemies, like I will look at the ground. If I'm surrounded by enemies, I will jump into a group like full of enemies. I will look at the ground, throw a grenade at my feet, go Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, and then that shit's funny.
It is funny. It's just funny, yeah. And it makes fun of all those radical idiots who are like, "Oh, yelling God is great before I die. I'll definitely go to heaven now."
No, that's not what Allahu Akbar means. Allahu Akbar means get the fuck out of here.
Oh boy! All right. So we went from being Nazis to now we're terrorists. Are we terrorist Nazis?
We are
Nazi terrorists. Oh my god, that's such a contradiction.
You didn't choose this.
Actually, no. Actually, pause. So, actually, Hitler actually was okay with Islam. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Come again?
Hitler approved of Islam because Muslims kind of hated the Jews like Hitler did.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, he did have a positive relationship with the Shah. So
he sort of had the same relationship with Islam as he wanted to have with Britain, where he's like, "You're not as pure, but you're better than the alternative."
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So keep in mind, Nazism is bad. Islam is a religion of peace, and Nazism supporting Islam is we don't talk about that.
It's just like a walking contradiction.
Oh, hold on. I'd like to add one more thing. So Protocraft said Allahu Akbar just means how about a smile made me think. No, Allahu Akbar is literally verbal terrorism.
Of the toxic rude variety.
Exactly.
Oh, also, I like this comment from Arcane Aardvark. E-Man, it's one of the sad people that get attacked. Oh yeah, my family was totally murdered by a dude he didn't just kill the women, but the men and the children too.
No, you fucked that up. It's not just the men, but the women and the children too.
When E-Man watches episode 4 and he hears Obi-Wan making that Crate Dragon call, he starts running away from the TV.
Yes.
There it is. I mean, that's literally the name of your side in the game. We can do better than this.
Yeah, your side is literally just named terrorists. They're not named Al-Qaeda. They're not named the Aryan Brotherhood. They're not named the IRA. They're not named anything. It's just they're just called terrorists in Counter-Strike. That's it.
I mean, for all we know, they could be fighting the Nazi regime that currently rules over their society.
Yeah, one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, that's a great point to bring up. I'm not sure if either of you have watched Star Trek: Deep Space Nine.
I haven't.
The Bajorans in that, which the main story centers around the world of Bajor, were occupied by an incredibly militaristic faction called the Cardassians. And basically every Bajoran on Bajor became some form of a terrorist. And by that, we mean they're launching raids against an occupying force, they're attacking them, they're blowing up bombs, including suicide bombing at times, and they're the good guys. Because they're fighting what is essentially Soviet Russia.
Oh.
And it brings up a lot of times how, like, a lot of the Bajorans, once the war is over and they've won, regret so much of what they did, but they saw it as necessary because they were fighting tyrannical over.
Uh-huh. That's a pretty good example. Yeah.
So maybe the terrorists we play as in Counter-Strike, they don't like what they're doing, but they see no other way to fight back against this tyrannical oppression that comes over them. Because after all, you have to admit, the counter-terrorists are pretty damned well armed for a police force.
Also, even like, let's suppose that we're talking about a video game where you play as a terrorist, and it's like a single player story, and like, let's maybe you could use hatred as an example, right?
I'm sorry, just
Or-
a big interruption. Just read the comments, Arcane.
Holdo's my favorite hero. The way she just suicide bombs the fleet. Who schooled the cat?
Deep Space Nine. He's the leader of the Cardassians.
Oh, okay.
Basically, Space Hitler.
Okay.
Southpaw, you still there?
You still there, man?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Should we continue, or did you want to say something?
I mean, I don't really have anything to say. Let's go.
All right, let's go.
All right, sorry. Go ahead.
People who have had traumatic experiences with these groups, who have lost loved ones to terrorists,
Oh, fuck
or
you.
who have
Pause
had
it.
generations of their
Okay.
My God, this video is so bad. We have to pause every 5 seconds.
Well, it's EFAP, right? Okay, so here's the thing. There are people that have lost loved ones to murder or suicide. Should we no longer allow suicide to be depicted in any art form whatsoever?
I mean, you could always think of games like Dead by Daylight, serial killers.
Like, seriously, so I have a brother whose best friend committed suicide a few years ago, okay?
Oh.
And now any medium that shows someone blowing their brains out, because that's the method in which his friend did so, is going to affect him more heavily than it would me. Now, his approach to that is like, he watches out for that kind of stuff. He doesn't necessarily want to consume it very much because it reminds him of that. But he's not going to clutch his pearls about it and say, well, there shouldn't be any movies or TV shows or video games or whatever that depict this kind of thing. It's like, yeah, this affects him, but I don't think that really has to be factored in all that much. Like, okay, it should be factored in the sense of you should depict it in a respectful way, unless you're going for like an all-out parody or something where everything in your world is just exaggerated and cartoonish, and you're satirizing everything and making fun of everything or whatever. But yeah, like, I don't think that, you know, if you depict something like suicide, it should be something like 13 Reasons Why, which is a fucking terrible show.
I liked that show when I first watched it, and then I watched videos, and no, it's not good.
Yeah, it's bad. But no, like, I think that this is a terrible fucking argument, because you can apply it to people who have lost loved ones to murder, to suicide, to car crashes, to anything. Like, there are so many different horrible events that have happened to every person in the world, and art is going to depict a lot of that. It's going to depict all of that at some point.
Eventually, we're only going to be allowed to play Warhammer games, because as far as I know, no one has been beheaded by an orc as of yet.
Yeah.
But people have been
or been brutally chain-axed by a Cornet Berserker, or sacrificed to Slanesh, or Kane. Or any of that stuff.
I mean, people have been beheaded, and I think that's close enough, you know?
Yes. But yeah, I mean, you could always look at games like...
Okay. Nobody has been turned into a chaos spawn yet, so we're good.
Sugar Nips brings up an interesting point. Guys, I've never been in a relationship. That means there should never be romance in media ever again.
That's true.
I've had horrible experiences with women, like, throughout my entire dating life. I've never really had a good relationship myself, and yeah, like, watching all these different shows and movies that depict people having like happy lives, like, good for you, fuck you. But like, I'm not going to seriously advocate for, well, there should never be romance in fiction. So, Ken Kaneki saying what Southpaw is saying is we should ban women. We should ban women.
But why would we do that? We won't get to look at women.
Well, you see, that way we can have an all-gay paradise, and that's progressive.
But it's okay to be
That's-
gay.
It's okay to be gay. No, E-Man, it's only okay to be gay now after you're trans.
So wait, doesn't that mean that you'd be straight?
Yes! I love it so much because I've seen so much stuff about gay trans people lately, and I'm just giggling.
Like
in
it's
the
like
corner,
it's like cheating almost.
Oh boy. Let's continue.
Their families wiped out by Nazis. No one should have to put on the costume of an ideology they find abhorrent without actually opting into it in your game. And by making people do so,
I mean, you bought the game, right?
You paid for this game, so I mean. Wait, Arch brought up this point. Let me just say the whole thing he brought up. I'm probably quoting him here. So, if this old lady who was a Holocaust survivor, she buys a game called Call of Duty World War II, puts it in the console that she somehow knows how to use, boots it up, logs in, goes into a match, and sees all of the World War II documentary thing in the first main menu, goes into a match, sees the dudes running around in German uniforms, and is like, oh my god, my feelings have been hurt! Ah!
No, that's not the point. She has to spawn on the German side.
And you know what? But you know what though? Like, I bet that in the very next match, she's going to get to play on the side that gets to kill the Germans.
Oh yeah.
So it's like there's a bit of a trade-off.
Could be
here.
some
Like,
wish
again,
fulfillment
because
there.
this dude is acting as though you wouldn't be playing on both sides. So I mean,
That's true.
it's like he's assuming that people are it's not like people are willingly buying a game where they know that they might be playing a Nazi half the time in exchange for getting to play as the side that gets to kill the Nazis half the time. No. They are being forced at gunpoint to play this game. And then they are being forced to play as only the Nazis.
Yeah, Arch brings up a great point in his video. He's like, the game devs burst in, like, all dressed up in the full Nazi gear. They point a Luger to your head. Now you are not. You must play Nazi now. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, you must pray that the game's algorithm is going to put you on the Nazi side, or we're going to kill you. Give me a fucking break.
All right, let's keep going.
get them to stop thinking about it, to stop thinking of the meaning behind these things. We normalize them. We make them
There is no meaning behind them.
Holy fucking shit.
There's no meaning. There's no more meaning than like it's like a. I mean, people complain about how like COD games or Battlefield games these days, like they're reskins, right? If you want to apply that shallow criticism of it, then yeah, like it's like putting a different skin on an existing form of game, right? Like the modern compared to the World War II Battlefield. I mean, you understand what I'm trying to say?
Sort of.
It's like a different coat of paint, you know, different setting, different, you know, aesthetics, different technology, different appearances, you know, different, you know, factions. It's different, but it's like it's not really something that should have like some sort of deeper meaning than, you know, we're in this setting, these things existed in this setting, we're going to use these. Right?
Yeah. Hey, E-Man, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be up for having a fourth and possibly a fifth person on here tonight?
Oh, you have somebody who wants to join in?
Whittle Puppyface. He's wanted to bash extra credits with me for a while.
Oh, okay.
And,
Let me expand this to 5. Who's the other person? Southpaw?
Is there no?
You cut off. Is there a fifth? Who's the fifth person?
Yeah, Quizerno and
Oh, yeah, sure.
And Whittle Puppyface. Yeah.
All right. I extended it to 5 people. They can go ahead and join. Let me just give them invites.
Yeah. What I was gonna say is I don't believe Battlefield games have ever tried to send a message that requires writing, and I think what they're trying to do is get it so that you can shoot people, and those people will shoot back at you, and presumably neither side will actually get hurt IRL.
No,
So
what it should be is you play a PvP game, and one side are the
Fine, I
Americans.
messaged both of them with an
They're-
invite.
They're like one side gets to be the Allies, and they have all like weapons and everything at their disposal. The other side are playing Germans, and they have their hands tied behind their backs. They are on their knees, and they're just being executed. And that's literally the game. That's how it should be.
You know, there is like a, I think Rags covered it in a video he did, like there is a game that literally lets you play as a Klansman or a Nazi. Like those are the two quote, classes.
Oh!
And your goal is to kill the Prime Minister of Israel.
You know what, though? You know what?
Amen.
No, there's a game that I have you guys ever heard of the game called
Whittle's
Hey man,
here.
I need you to send me a link to that game for
Okay.
research purposes.
Research purposes.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Hello, puppy face. I want to say there's actually a video game that is out there that was actually like literally developed by like neo-Nazi game developers, which of course means that the game is not that good because these are like not particularly talented game developers. And it's called Ethnic Cleansing, and it's like have you guys heard of this game?
No, I haven't.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Go on, I'm interested.
So the idea is it imagines an America that has literally had a race war. You of course play an Aryan Ubermensch that is gunning down Mexicans with Speedy Gonzalez voices. I'm not kidding. and Jews like Hasidic
Oh
Jews
wait! This
who
game you're
say-
talking about
they
is the
say-
game I was talking about that Rags
They
mentioned.
say
It is the same game.
Yeah, they say "Oy vey" when they get shot.
Oh my god!
and then the black people who, when you shoot them, they make monkey screeches.
Oh my god! It's so bad.
And so that is actually a game that exists. And you're like, again, it's made by Nazis. You're playing a Nazi. You're murdering these horrible stereotypes of different minorities.
Jesus Christ.
Like, I mean, that's like, if you were making a video on that, I'd be like, yeah, extra credits, go. You go with this hot take that Ethnic Cleansing is a horrible fucking game.
I'm sure everybody will agree with you. They probably would, actually.
No, it's funny too because like I don't know, I think I found out this game through like TV Trips or something. Because they would have like a page on like so bad it's horrible games, and I found like, wow, that's horribly fucked up. And what's really funny is there's a show called Justified that has like a bunch of Nazi characters, and in the first episode of Justified, you can actually see them play this game. They actually showed their work here, and you can see the game being played on like the Nazis' TV, which is like just a cool little bit of attention to detail. But yeah, it's I would almost consider like having like requesting the EFAP Gaming cover it.
Oh, do you want Mauler to get demonetized? Like, seriously.
That's the reason why I'm like just considering it and not like fucking do it.
Oh, also, I sent an invite to Quizerno, but he said he doesn't remember wanting to? What is that about?
Huh. Oh, that's weird.
I thought he wanted to come on.
Well, maybe not right now, but like maybe sometime in the future. I could have sworn at some point that myself, and Southpaw wanted to cover some other EC videos, but I guess not right now.
I'm gonna go take a pee. You guys continue. I will return.
So wait, when Rags was talking about this game, what video was he talking about it?
The video was called "Video Games Are Racist," and in that video, this guy who is the host, he's talking about he's like, I don't know if he's from Vice or Vox or any of those crappy media outlets, and he's basically talking about how he basically has a whole segment dedicated to how this game is bad and you should feel bad, and he just laughs it off like you should. Like it's a really stupid game.
I gotcha.
Which video are we talking about? Are we talking about extra credits?
Stop normalizing Nazis.
Oh yeah, God.
This wonderful
The big one.
bad piece of garbage that should not have ever been uploaded, and whoever approved it should be shot. But
Rob,
hey, details.
Rabcom showed me his. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I interrupted you.
Oh well, we're just covering it just so we can beat Mauler and company to it.
Awesome.
That's
Is there
tonight.
Is there a side tube or a sync tube or whatever?
Oh, you mean a watch together?
Oh, the watch together. Yeah.
Let me give you a link, my friend.
Thank you.
Oh Jesus!
Ooh.
Hey, Whittle, how you doing?
Who's shoving their mic up their ass right now?
It might be me. No.
It's all good here.
All right, now
Oh,
this is
here.
a party.
Aelin is interested in ethnic cleansing. The fuck?
Here, I'm gonna switch over to push to talk, so I don't, and so my speakers don't go through.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Corzerno, I'd like to ask you, do you ever have like some sort of like personal crisis or whatever whenever you're playing as a Nazi in a video game? Like, do you go through like identity crisis of sorts?
I just came back and heard "Daddy Crisis of Sorts," and I'm interested.
Whittle is referring to the fact that I'm Jewish, and so I was trying to give the Jewish perspective on things, and he asked me if I suffer identity crisis. And it's funny because I don't know if I've actually ever played as. I don't know. Wait, actually, I did play as a Nazi once in the Metro Last Light side stories. I did. Play
That one. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And I thought
the one where the Reds are attacking in human wave style, and you have to defend your base.
And I was like, okay, well, I'm killing communists, so it's okay.
Good trade-off.
Yeah.
I used to work at Pizza Hut. And
the stream has been corrupted by the Jewish agenda. Oh God!
I used to work at Pizza Hut, and I'm sure that me just mentioning that has probably like caused Wolf's ears to start burning. But there was a driver at the store that I worked at named Ari, and
my dad's name is Ari. Just to throw that out there.
He was a character because not only was he a Jew, he was a veteran, he was a pothead, he was gay, and he was also a brony.
Did he just go out of his way to tick all of the weird boxes?
Yeah, all of the degenerate boxes, basically.
Oof.
Wow, that is the exact opposite of my dad.
So he once told me this joke. He was very much into telling Holocaust jokes.
Awesome.
Why do the shower heads in Germany have a
what?
Have what?
Have a what?
We've lost Southpaw.
Well, we lost him.
YouTube figured out what we were doing. They're shutting us down.
Oh no! Oh no! They've shut us down. Fuck!
They're onto us.
Can you guys hear me now?
Okay, yeah. Say it again.
Okay, why do the shower heads in Germany have 11?
Oh my God! He cut off at the punchline again.
11 holes.
Why?
Because Jews only have 10 fingers to plug them up.
Oh! Oh my God! Oh, I got a worse one.
Okay.
What do you call a Jewish Pokemon trainer?
Reverse Egyptian.
Ash.
Oh shit!
It's really bad. It's like really bad.
Trying to kind of think of remember.
You're a horrible person, and you should feel bad.
Well, I mean, the story like I always like to tell is, I was in Japan for 3 months, and so there were a lot of foreign exchange students since I was at an international university, and so this is like my first time ever like seeing like another German person, and so at one time we're on the trains. Or on a train, because trains are a big thing in Japan. I asked if they had trains in Germany, and she said, "Oh yeah, mostly underground." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's how they transported all the Jews, right?" And she was not amused.
I love how off topic we're not talking about Jews.
Okay, we gotta stop before we get demonetized.
Okay, let's go.
All right, let's continue with the video. So now we're at this point, just for context for you two, where they're talking about how the whole World War II aesthetic of having Germans as one of the playable teams is just, it's just a coat of paint. But they're saying it's not. It means more than that, as far as I'm aware. Right?
EA was very, very considerate about what the teams are. Wait, I don't know. Is it Call of Duty or which one? I don't
They're
know.
showing footage of Battlefield 5 on this video in particular.
Oh, okay. So I was right. Okay.
All right. Continue, I guess.
Yes.
We're at it.
I don't have
Just window
I
dressing for
gotcha.
entertainment. Those uniforms, those symbols, become things that no
Those
longer inherently
symbols.
revolt us. They reduce our visceral reaction to seeing
The Iron Cross shouldn't inherently revolt you anyways. I mean, I don't hate French people that much.
Like, the Iron Cross is on almost every German vehicle that they use right now.
It's still used at some to an extent today, right?
Like, I mean,
Even
Like,
before Nazi Germany, it was used by the Prussians and then the Holy Roman Empire. Come on.
yeah.
I'm gonna say something controversial. Even the swastika, like that was appropriated by the Nazis. There are versions of the swastika that don't have a Nazi context to it.
Yeah, I mean, just like, and also if
Like
you're talking
obviously, the red, white, and black swastika, like sure, that's a Nazi swastika, but there are swastikas out there that exist that are like engraved on like Buddhist temples and shit that predate Nazi Germany by hundreds of years.
Definitely.
Okay, well, maybe this guy's right. Maybe like now that the Thalmor and Skyrim have started normalizing those yellow like black cloaks. Now we're gonna start seeing more Aldmeri apologists.
Makes sense to me.
Sounds about right. Thor's hammer had a swastika, right?
Yeah.
the embodiment of these ideologies. Now, does this make us totally ignore the history that comes with them? No. But for some people, it moves them from the territory of revolting to just
Fuck!
It makes scrawling a swastika.
So, what you're saying is people cannot be trusted to control their own thoughts.
This is literally the fucking, like, I don't know if you guys saw it, the guy who was talking about, like, the PewDiePie pipeline, as he called it, for normalizing Nazism.
Wait, was that ContraPoints or was that someone else?
I thought it was ContraPoints, but I don't think it is. Well, but no, ContraPoints had a similar video, I think, or maybe it was ContraPoints. I'd have to check. But it's like this whole, okay, like if they're really gonna be a Nazi, I mean, this doesn't need to be said. They would be a Nazi regardless of whether or not they saw a fucking like Nazi.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like I'm not sure what this poor guy is doing. This poor tiger, but
on something changed from unthinkable to just dangerous.
Yeah, he's got to have
It means you might not take iron crosses all over a website as a warning sign that you should immediately leave.
Is this guy just too scared to use the fucking swastika or some shit?
Well, yeah, he's in the
YouTube
YouTube good boy team. He doesn't want to get demonetized.
Oh, great.
hey,
so
it
now
wasn't-
he's...
Wait.
Credits has made a video in the past directly addressing the use of the swastika in any of their World War II related videos. I think they said that their number one reason was because they wanted to keep in line with the German censorship laws, and that's why they don't have the swastika in their content. But I'm not sure. Is that law still in place in Germany as of now?
Yes.
It still is. Okay.
I want to quickly amend something I said. It wasn't ContraPoints that made the PewDiePie pipeline video. It was someone called Non-Compete.
Okay.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
And I also want to point out that anyone who's been on the internet for 5 seconds knows that there's a bunch of edgy teens out there who are going to go draw swastikas on things just because they can. Playing Battlefield will not be the tipping point. Probably the tipping point will be whenever they...
I've seen this video once
4chan.
already, Storfus. Actually, most of us have seen it already.
This is like my fourth time watching this video now.
I mean, couldn't this also like apply to watching a World War II series. Like, you see the Nazis in their cool uniforms.
We're normalizing them in collective thought.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, Eamon, where's the chat you're reviewing? Because I don't see it on the Watch Together.
Well, I mean, it's actually on the live stream.
Oh.
Let me pull it up.
Okay.
I'll send you a link.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, so
What if we showed these people Hearts of Iron 4? You can make any faction. You can make any faction fascist, or right? I'd love to know what they think of that.
well, clearly good people. See, I think what they're driving at here is that you don't get a choice in the matter in Battlefield when you're getting put into the like you don't get to choose whether or not you're going to be the Nazis. While in Hearts of Iron 4, obviously you can choose which way you're going to go that way. But the difference here is, in one, you are actively affecting like politics and stuff like that. In this one, you are some poor bastard infantry lineman on the front lines where you're all going to die. No one gives a shit about you or your politics.
Let's see, we're 2 minutes in the video, so I'm assuming we're past the part where they talked about how, as the game must directly mention to you that you are not a Nazi, even if you're one of the German soldiers who wasn't part of the Nazi party.
Yes. So yeah, that's also a thing. Anyways, moving on.
If you don't leave, you might start reading and buying into hateful ideas there. It seems like such a small and simple thing, but it's things like this that erode our safeguards against dangers we sacrifice so much to fight. By the time you've played 100 hours of being...
This sounds so much like the violence in video games argument. Like, if you see violence all the time in video games, you're going to become more violent IRL.
Like, I mean...
I don't know about you, man, but ever since I've been playing World War II games since I was a kid, I've always been really suspicious of the Jews.
Oh, fuck. Okay, hold on. I have to amend. All right, E-Man, you there?
Yes.
Okay, I have to amend something that I said in the beginning of the stream. So, remember that old extra credits video that we watched and how they like showed a very honorable stance on like standing up for the medium?
Mm-hmm.
So I said that James Portnoy got shit canned from extra credits.
Okay.
For his harassing of a female employee until she finally quit.
Oh yes.
I was wrong. He did not get shit canned. In fact, he wrote this video.
James is still
on this. He's James with extra credits, and this is actually a case of hypocrisy. So, fuck me.
James was hit with allegations, but he is still the head of extra credits.
But wait, I thought we were supposed
to so the dude who
women.
wrote that really long, like, little, ending, like, that ending bit, right? He wrote this piece of shit.
Same guy.
Oh my god.
All right, press F in the chat right now.
Everybody put an F in the chat for this guy's sanity.
James Portnoy.
Also, Quizerno, I want to read this thing you posted. Normalization is thermite that erodes the safe.
That was...
press F for James Portnoy's principles.
Yes, F for James Portnoy's principles, indeed. Getting a lot of Fs in the chat here.
It's so
also
this makes it really interesting now. This makes it interesting now because you have to wonder what changed in those, what's it been, 7 years?
He injected himself, before he wrote this script, he injected himself with the finest concentration of soy he could find.
But no, it's an honest
I'm
question.
kidding.
Like, what happened, mate? What happened in between June of 2009 and now?
So
everything.
Well, so what happened in June? What did he say in June or something that I guess I'm not following?
Basically, he was defending a game for being controversial and showing a real life event in horrid detail. Like it was showing
to be
a
specific,
war
it was
as
the
a
battle
war.
of. To be specific, it was the Battle of Fallujah.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was showing the war as a war, horrifying, all that stuff. And he defended that because you got to stand up for your craft.
Also, Southpaw, I want to bring up something here. This is one of the highest view counts I've ever had. 26 people watching. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this video is fucking terrible. So yeah,
It's entertaining to make fun of.
Very, yeah. Honestly, I sort of wish I didn't just like skip ahead because I'm like looking at the original video in a different tab, and I looked up Extra Credits' Twitter because I was trying to pull up their fucking retarded communications director's shitty tweets, and I went to Extra Credits Twitter and I saw James' little avatar was still on their band. I'm like, wait, what? And then I skip ahead to the video, and sure enough, it says written by James Portnow. Or Portnow or whatever. I'm like, no fucking way. But I kind of wish that I didn't do it now, so that we could have gotten like my raw reaction to seeing that, because I would have like legit just lost my shit. I need to take a minute to like process this before I announce that. But yeah, so I was wrong, and I have to amend that with Mahler too, because I relayed the exact same information to Mahler that this isn't a case of hypocrisy. It's just, they passed on their show to people that don't have the same principles. Nope, I was completely fucking wrong. I was completely wrong.
Well, that's an easy fix. Just let
It's
know.
even worse than we thought.
If only you knew how bad things really were.
The only way I can explain this in a non-meme way, like the soy thing, it's overdone. But like the only way I can explain it, he took some really good acid before he started writing this, and that's the only explanation.
Have you guys ever heard or seen what James Portnow looks or sounds like?
No.
Yeah, he looks really, really fucking weird.
Yeah, he's definitely the type of guy who would definitely take drugs while writing. Like he's kind of like Futaba from Persona 5, where he like sits on chairs.
Okay,
with his
no,
legs.
like I mean, like that's the weird. I think like Futaba at least would have the audacity to sit normally in real life. In real life, if she was a real character, but he's like sitting like in a fucking corner, like answering questions of fucking Gamergate in one video.
What?
Yeah, he's a staunch anti-Gamergator. Like Extra Credits in general was like they were going on about how it's a hate-filled movement and all that.
Well, it's just like whether or not you're pro or anti-Gamergate, it's fucking pathetic to have this stance against it and then actually turn out to be someone that harasses your ex and tries to win them back by staking them on professional projects with you, and then harassing them and berating them email, several emails, getting blocked on each of those emails, and then just continuing until they finally quit. Like,
sounds classy to me.
What kind of a fucking hypocrite are you? I'm not even like decidedly pro or anti Gamergate. I don't want anything to do with Gamergate, but because I think that's just a whole shit show in and of itself.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah, like don't.
It's a fair
don't
enough
get,
reason.
Don't get me involved in Gamergate, please don't. But
for sure.
I would like you all to meet the newest member of Gamergate, Southpaw.
Welcome to Gamergate, sir.
May I take your order?
Would you be willing to officially recognize that you hate women
and minorities? And you want to establish a white ethno state?
Would you like a
Especially
swastika or a KKK hood? We have two options.
Okay, so yeah, it's. I was gonna say something further about Gamergate. I'm choosing not to though. Well,
look, it just brought out the worst in humanity. Let's just all agree with that.
Yeah, it's a flame war that I really wish would like
die down.
People would just stop fucking talking about it.
It was 5 years ago, man.
And people still talk about it. People still talk about it.
No, like my life got so much better as soon as I like stopped giving a shit about Gamergate. Like, it's amazing that people just can't shut the fuck up about it.
See,
I stopped thinking about Anita Sarkeesian and paying attention to her bullshit, and then now look at her.
The thing is, you guys say it's
Well, that
5
kinda
years
resolved
ago,
itself.
like that's a long time, but keep in mind that The Last Jedi was almost 3 years ago.
2015.
Almost 2 years ago, actually.
Is it?
No, November or December
2017.
2017. Yep.
Oh, was it? Okay.
It just feels like 3 years.
Yes, it's been
Mhm.
a long
And
haul.
Force Awakens is 2015.
Ooh.
Mhm.
Yeah, like, look, whether you're pro or anti-Gamergate, it says Gamergate hates women, and you engage in the exact same behavior that you are accusing Gamergate of engaging in, you're a fucking asshole. And you are
Joseph
a hypocrite,
Curran?
and you have no principles, especially when 7 years ago you say that you need to be willing to stand up to controversy, and then 7 years later you're like, you shouldn't be allowed to fucking play a German soldier in World War II in a PvP game that doesn't even talk about ideologies.
See, and Joseph Curran, we can confirm that this Southpaw guy is taking us into Gamergate
Yeah.
2.0.
Yeah, James Portnow as the newly appointed leader of Gamergate, I'm going to summon my army of neckbeards and trolls and 8chaners, and we are going to find you, and we are going to thumb our noses at you for making this horrible abortion of a video.
We will meme you.
Would you guys like me to?
We will tweet at you that we disagree in masse, and that's going to count as harassment.
We do not forgive. We do not forget.
Gamers rise up.
Because we live
loudly
in a society.
We
loudly tell
live
you.
in a society.
We will loudly tell you that we will not rape you.
I cannot wait for that stupid Joker movie to finally come out so I can make loads of We Live
Society
in a Society
jokes.
Yeah.
That started when the trailer was released.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
The guy who plays the Joker in that movie, he had to really prep for the role. He became a gamer and lived in a society for 3 years straight.
True story. True story.
my favorite meme though is still just the Willem Dafoe from Spider-Man 1 edit where it says, "I've lived in a couple societies myself." Like someone who thought that up? It was a fucking genius.
Give that man a raise now.
Give him a raise. Anyway, we were watching a video.
All right, we are.
I was just about to ask if you wanted me to like read out their Gamergate statement, but all right, let's
Their
watch this
voices
video.
become memes
Oh my
and
God.
in-jokes with your friends. By the 1000th time you've respawned as a terrorist, you're either celebrating them or making fun of them. Neither of which helps the global crisis we have that takes thousands of lives every year. So what do we do?
No fucking shit! Okay,
Jesus.
so
You okay there?
Here's the thing.
I fucking hate
Playing video games does not address any global crisis. Ever. Under any fucking context. You don't play video games to address some global crisis. Fuck off!
You know, it was funny because like it was like this is like it is almost a complete 180 from their stance on their fucking like Olympics video, because they were trying to pair video games to the Olympics and saying that the Olympics helped reduce fighting in during the Cold War, which is a complete fucking lie.
So what you guys are saying is when you play video games, you're not doing it to fight the patriarchy?
Well, unless you're playing Life is Strange 2, in which case. When you have one of the characters literally reference the wall because fuck nuance.
Well, if you play video games through the lens of gamer response theory, you can pretend that every enemy is actually an allegory for President Donald J. Trump and his family, and in killing them, you are fighting the patriarchy.
Yeah, you know, Wolfenstein 2, you know, my favorite review of that game on Steam is a game review that says, this is unironically what the far left thinks America is like.
All this talk about smashing the patriarchy, when are we going to smash the matriarchy? Like, come on, give me a B, like, I mean, I guess Hollow Knight got close because you got to, and no, wait, the queen is already dead in that. Okay, never mind.
Why don't we work on the real problem, which is the fatriarchy? Have you seen how fat the average American is nowadays?
Oh yes, that's the real crisis here.
I have big bones.
Calm down, Cartman. Anyway, let's continue.
I have a thyroid problem.
That's easy. Don't make them morally equivalent. Don't make there be no in-game moral difference between your Nazis and your allies. But
there isn't.
From a gameplay standpoint, there is literally no difference.
Can I just say, like, somehow this guy's like surpassed like the fucking chipmunk voice of the other guy. Was that James Portnow?
I hate this new guy.
This new guy is like.
The last narrator was Daniel.
I am
Floyd.
talking down to you like a dad.
Daniel Floyd left EC some time ago to do whatever.
No, he left because of the James Portnow situation.
Oh, it was because I always thought that was speculation. I didn't know that was actually the reason. That's amazing.
Yeah, James Portnow is like poison to extra credits. It's
and he's the head of it. Like, he's been there from the beginning.
He's the writer. He is the one that is writing these terrible fucking videos.
I mean, so
why does it seem like all of these old big YouTube channels, like Nostalgia Critic and all that, always have that evil guy in the background who just are ruining everything?
Rob Walker, man. So James Portnow is the guy who says Dark Souls 2 is genius. Okay.
Well, that's a discussion for another day. We don't want to get into another tangent.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Between your terrorists and your counter-terrorist squads. Frame PvP as a training exercise. Or simply take one of your non-odious sides and recolor them so that it's red versus blue.
But what if I want to fight in World War II?
What if I want to play an RTS where all of the vehicles are and soldiers are authentically accurate and I like the aesthetic of it?
No. Just have it so every single game of World War II, they're all just war games where you're playing as allies fighting each other, training, getting ready to fight the Nazis.
World War II, Civil War.
That would be very confusing.
Yes.
I'm already confused.
Oh, there we go. Joseph Kerwin, you're a genius, man. Swap the Nazis with women.
Oh, yeah.
That way you can both play as women. Women are represented,
rather than Axis
and the Nazis are gone.
A good example of a game that does this is Rainbow Six Siege. All of your bomb diffusion and hostage rescue multiplayer with no normalizing terrorists. In fact, by having all of the characters as counter-terrorists training for a possible threat, it highlights how real and present of a threat that is. And if
do you think
now, is this actually true? Like, I haven't played Siege. I haven't played Siege.
I think somebody should mention that they are planning on adding actual terrorists into the game.
Okay, well, give me a fucking sec. I gotta queue this up.
What?
Hold on. It's a little
suspense
surprise.
is killing me.
Yeah, it's a little surprise. So, could you repeat what you just said about what they're planning to do with?
They're adding like actual terrorists that you can play as.
What game?
Rainbow Six Siege. I believe.
Rainbow Six Siege.
Oh.
Because they have all these specialists, but then the idea is like the counter-terrorists bring in actual terrorists that have been given a deal, like work for us, and you'll get reduced sentences, and you also get to do what you want to do. I think the idea they had was like a pyromaniac. So
you argue
like
that
we'll let you blow shit up if you work for us.
Wouldn't you argue that the game is instead normalizing the idea of hostage taking in normal life?
You'd also argue they're normalizing police brutality, considering some of the tactics the police are using.
Police relations to extra credits, huh? They actually did a police brutality video.
Yes, I was about to say.
They did?
They said that the Division is problematic through its mechanic because it shows government police brutality against minorities in the Division.
How?
Oh, because you play as government agents shooting at guys in hoodies.
What?
And only black people wear hoodies.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, I mean,
It could be trans black.
are the bad guys that are wearing hoodies doing something that's bad?
Well, I thought the Division.
They're
1
lying.
so I don't know.
Well, in Division 2, isn't it like a Civil War
hoodies-
scenario of sorts?
Hold up.
Yeah. Well, Division
So-
2 it is, yeah.
So, oh boy. Okay, the story of... Are we discussing Rainbow Six or Division right now? Because I know the stories of both.
Well, it's a Ubisoft game either way.
Which one do you want the story of?
Both Ubisoft are both trash.
I mean, I like the Division.
I mean,
but,
a lot of people say Siege is a very good game. I don't want to
Yes,
dismiss it
it's
from
well
those people
balanced.
who really
It's very
enjoy it.
I've always been curious about Siege. I'm not a multiplayer guy.
Tonal is black on the inside.
Normal
yeah.
wears a hoodie. That's a plot hole.
Basically, if you guys have ever played Splinter Cell, the story behind Rainbow Six Siege is basically just Splinter Cell, where there's a terrorist organization that is incredibly well organized, incredibly well supplied, that is quickly spreading throughout the world, and they are staging different attacks that you must stop. So what's happening when you're playing Siege, if you're not, you're training to fight these terrorists, and the actual campaign single player, you're fighting the terrorists who are AI.
Wait. There's a single player for Siege?
Yes.
What?
Well, it's not single player, it's like scenarios where you have 2, 3, 4 other teammates and you're fighting AI.
Yeah, terrorist hunt, right?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'll actually play it.
But in the Division, there's a guy who is of the mind that basically the world is plagued by humans and stuff like that, and there has to be something to lower the population, all that.
Oh, that's actually the plot of the original book.
Yeah. And so he creates what's called the Dollar Flu, and the reason it's called that is because on Black Friday, which for you non-Americans out there, is when a lot of put everything on sale. He infected a bunch of like dollar bills and stuff with this
traces
virus.
of this.
Yeah, traces of the virus. So it spread incredibly quickly because everyone was spending money on Black Friday.
Is that what the Division is about?
Yes. And then the virus rockets through New York and can't be stopped, leading to massive violence, gang wars, etc., etc.
Massive.
Quite a massive war.
I played.
Well, that sounds pretty cool.
Okay, hold on. I have to read out Ken's latest message. Hands up, don't shoot.
Put up those artificial police barriers of blockage.
That's how the Division helps that absurdly long pause.
Stop normalizing Nazis.
If you decide you need to have both sides be playable, don't make them interchangeable. Don't have players randomly spawn in as one or the other. Allow players to choose which side they're on.
That
Now,
already
of course,
exists.
This has also...
Yeah.
Wait,
But how would that work? Let's stop and think for a second from a game mechanics perspective. I'm assuming you need a certain number of players on each side, so it's fair.
If we're in Battlefield, the max is like 64, I think.
32v32.
So how does he suggest we do this without
balance
forcing
issues?
some people onto... Yeah.
In a game like say like Red Arch, the moment the game starts, whoever loads into the game faster gets to choose their teams. So
wait, so wouldn't this guy then have an issue with people like voluntarily choosing to play the Nazis? Wouldn't he then be like judging them for that?
Exactly. Like at this point, now from the way he's putting it, could you imagine what he'd think if we were like, all right, we're playing the Nazis today?
Jawohl, mein Führer.
We put on our uniforms.
If we are playing Nazis, then the game has to like let us know the ramifications of our choice. Like, what does our choice in wanting to play the Nazis mean? It must educate us.
What sort of ramifications? Are we gonna have lower health or something? I don't know. That would just be a balance problem. Like,
are we
no.
gonna have to worry about a political officer behind us watching us to make sure we're loyal?
Yeah, if we're in the Soviet army, are we gonna have something like that?
Little boy.
If you had a game
Where like there's
It's
like
the
a
Soviets.
there's a commissar class, and it's the only class that has friendly fire enabled, and like.
You know what? Now that you mention it, I want this in the game now.
Have you ever played Call of Duty Finest Hour?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Oh, in Call of Duty Finest Hour, the first level of the game, you play as a conscript, and you don't even get a gun. The first thing they give you is like a single stripper.
Yeah.
Like, they say like the first person gets the rifle, the second ammunition. When the first is killed, the second person takes the rifle and shoots.
Yes, they say that as they're handing the rifles out. Yeah.
And you're like,
so
and it's always scripted so that you get the fucking clip, the stripper clip, and then it's like, and it's pretty funny. And my favorite part of that mission is just like when you're not allowed to retreat. But you go when you're about. Hey, this guy tells you, "Okay, go retreat. Don't worry, I'll tell the officer everything is okay," and he shoots the officer.
So I'd like to point out another issue. So like, well, maybe not an issue, but it'd be like a funny scenario. So imagine you've got a game where you are allowed to choose whether or not you play as the Axis or the Allies, right? So most people would imagine that it's going to be a race to pick the Allies first until you have no choice but to play as the Germans. So wouldn't it be funny to like get a group of friends in a party, and then you all like immediately take the Axis, and you've got like people on the other side going like, all right, I got to be real quick and make sure that I pick the Allies before anyone else can. And then they see that the Axis are like immediately taken, and you're like, what?
No, see, it's even better. So,
I have another example
because
I could
we're
bring
just
up.
talking about the Soviet Union. When we're saying the Allies, what happens if I'm playing the Soviet Union? Does that mean I support everything Stalin did? Because the Soviet Union were not nice people, but they were allies.
Go off to Gulag now, comrade.
Or if you're playing as the Americans, do you support Japanese internment camps? Do you support racial segregation in the South?
Or in your battalions?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like you need to address all these little arguments instead of just saying Nazis bad.
I want to bring another thing up, Aylin. The farther in depth you can go with like World War II scenarios, like it can actually become beneficial to play the Germans sometimes, depending on your playstyle. Like, there's a game called there's like a war game style game. I think it's called like I forget the name of it. It's Arch talked about it, but like it's a very large map RTS game where you command very large groups of tanks, infantry, aircraft, and such.
Steel Battalion 2?
Yeah, that's it. Steel Division Normandy 2. And in this game, there's like so many different vehicles and aircraft and soldier customizations for your squads to choose from. And depending on your playstyle, it can be beneficial to pick one of the three, like US, Soviets, or Germans. And you can pick one of these three. I think it's only Soviets and Germans, but like sometimes the Germans have their strengths and their weaknesses. The Soviets have their strengths and their weaknesses. Like, there's actually benefits. Are you saying that they should neuter the benefits of the Germans just so that they don't offend anybody? Come on, man.
Yes. That's what they should do, because otherwise they're horrible.
Okay. So the Sherman can kill the Tiger in one hit. Okay, gotcha.
Yep, exactly. Now you're getting
Sorts
it.
of in-game problems, such as creating shorter wait times for fascists. But you know what?
What?
Those wait times...
Wait, whoa. What the fuck?
Wait.
That's not the gameplay problem I was thinking of.
Greater wait times if you want to play on the Axis team? What the fuck?
I'm gonna tell
I get
him.
it. Like, does it mean that they want to punish you for wanting to play as the Nazis by making you having to wait longer?
That's so stupid.
Literally put a time wall.
No, what he's saying is
Fascists ride the back of the bus.
The issue with his idea is that all of the fascists will get into the game faster because they don't have to wait as long because they weren't. I'm going to tell you right now what would happen in most games is people would just play as whoever has the least population, so they don't have to wait in a 30-minute queue.
Mm-hmm.
So the teams will assuming there is a queue, the teams will balance out themselves after a little while. Especially if, as we already discussed, the teams are basically identical. Like, the weapons and stuff are all pretty much the same, so it doesn't really make a difference to the casual player. So, you know...
This is just a stupid solution in general. Like, what the fuck, dude?
Also, why on earth did someone just subscribe to me? I'm so confused. Anyways, going on.
Extended. If it meant players had an active choice in what teams they would represent, if you're saying we need people playing Nazis in our games. And if you're going to say, but we need it for historical reasons, then your game better actually be historical. You can't
What does
really
that
just hide behind
mean?
the fact you called your desert map El Alamein.
Go
and
on.
Say, but it
I'm curious what he thinks El Alamein is. As far as I know, it's just a desert. Like,
El
is there
Alamein was an actual city in what is it?
Yeah, it was in
Yes, but was the
1942.
battle fought in the city? I don't think
It was fought near it.
Yeah, but it wasn't fought in it. It was fought outside.
It was called the Second Battle of El Alamein. It was a battle over the city. It didn't have to be in the city to be about the city. Like,
Yeah, so then the
Bunker
question...
Hill was just next to Bunker Hill.
Yeah, I'm always frustrated by that. It's not actually the Battle of Bunker Hill, it's the Battle of next to Bunker Hill. But anyways,
It's El Alamein in Egypt. Yeah.
So I'm just going to point out that when we defer to things as historically accurate, we don't expect them to be 100% because they need to sacrifice certain things for game mechanics. For example, health bars tend to regenerate in most games.
Mm-hmm.
And most bullet wounds cannot be healed by wrapping a bandage around it real quick.
Or sticking you with some morphine and you're all good to go.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
I always like to think of it as historical authenticity in games.
But those two terms often get interchanged. That's the problem. Like the people who like to use weasel words, is like, our game is historically authentic, not historically accurate. So go away, bigot. Something like that.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that?
Well, so what they're trying to do here is presumably, if you're making a World War II game, you are not trying to make the battles end up exactly like they are, because simply, if you did the Battle of the Bulge, if you did it exactly historically accurate, the Allies would win every time.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a good game.
Yeah.
You need both teams to have a chance.
So the setting has to be historically authentic, so that like everything is set up in a way that would have happened. Like everything has to be set up in the correct way, but the outcome, the way you play it, is different.
Can you imagine just playing an RTS game, you playing as the Germans and you always lose, and it's you just wondering like why you can't ever win, and then you're like the devs like, oh yeah, we programmed it that way.
I think that's how the French leadership views the world. They're just playing an RTS game that they can never win. Like, god damn it! Anyways.
Picture those racist devs justifying their German love.
It's historical. If that were the case, you need your PvP to at least represent real historical events and be a realistic take on those battles. Once you make both sides balanced, it's also no longer historical. And you can't really say...
Yeah,
I'm also going to point out that I've never heard of a game without glitches, and it is not historically accurate to have your horse flipping upside down and rolling through the...
I'm really confused. Like historical authenticity, what is he saying? Like he's saying that gameplay interferes with historical authenticity. Yeah, because games aren't fucking real life.
Yeah, this is an Arma 3. It's not a simulator. Come on. Like, it's the straw man that these people use all the time. It's like, okay, so there's healing in this game, therefore you can have anything you want. There's an instant deploy parachute, so everything goes. The tanks can be repaired with a wrench, so everything goes. The planes can be repaired by pressing a button, so everything goes. Like, shit like that. It's just like, why are you bringing these straw man arguments into this?
this is such a terrible straw man. I mean, at least if it were a good straw man, it would actually make a point. But this doesn't make any point.
No, dude. A straw man is inherently flawed by itself.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
exactly. But I mean, at least I would be able to understand what he's saying. But I have no idea what he's trying to argue here.
See, I could argue in some cases that I really dislike it when games and movies, in fact, say based on true story or based on historical, and then they do absolutely nothing to show actual history. For example, I wish the uniforms in the Battlefield games were accurate. I wish that was actually a thing, that they had proper uniforms on.
Yeah.
I wish that their weapons were a bit more accurate to what standard infantrymen or snipers or whatever would actually have. But at the same time, I don't think their goal was to be historically accurate, nor did they claim to do so.
This for me, this is just really confusing because he's trying to make the argument that that a game can't be inherently or historically accurate because it is a game, but this is something that someone already knows. He's making an argument that I don't think anyone would ever fucking make.
And keep in mind that that we're talking about here is James Portnoy. These are the words that he wrote.
Yes, of course.
Of course, Matt is narrating them and had no problem with reading this out loud, but he's not the one that formulated these retarded thoughts. So,
right.
Also, as Ken Kanaki says so accurately, if we really want it to be accurate, after you die in the game, your computer needs to explode so that
I have a better one. As soon as you die, the game uninstalls itself, and you get a single message that says, "You've died in the game. You must therefore die in real life. The dev has sent an assassin to your home."
I like his second post. So you come back alive a few seconds after you die. If your game is historically accurate and Nazi man bad. What if you die and it just says Nazis bad?
Yeah, does that fulfill what you want, Mr. Extra Credits?
I just imagined
imagine if you're playing a COD game where every time you die, there's a quote from a famous person when you die.
Yeah.
Imagine if they just replace if you're playing as the Germans in one of the campaigns, if they ever did that, and then every single quote is just replaced with Nazis are bad when you die.
You're a horrible person. Stop playing this game.
I would love to hear. I would love to hear their thoughts on the Company of Heroes 1 German campaign, where you literally play as an SS officer.
Oh, jeez.
Kill 3 Jews, upgrade to prestige.
Kill the Jews to tech.
Yes, mein Führer. If I get to 3 Jews today, I will rank up. Okay, we gotta stop. We're gonna get Susan Wojcicki into non-existence.
Oh, and once you let players get cool weapons that weren't actually at that particular battleground, it's also no longer historically accurate, and you can't declare that.
Okay, that's something you can actually agree with this on Alyn. For example, if you have in Battlefield 5, they pointed out, you can't have the STG-44 during the Battle of what is it
You can use the STG-44 in 1941.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
That's impossible. But
yeah, it's impossible. So, but you can at least suspend your disbelief because it's a World War II game. There's a whole string of guns in this classes rank up system. It's fine. You can suspend your disbelief a bit.
I'm gonna bring something up real quick. I'm gonna use
unless you're a gun nut.
Completely different genre. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the game Rome Total War.
See,
that game was used by things like the History Channel to show Roman tactics, even though in many ways it is very inaccurate, such as Parthian horse archers had to actually stop before shooting because of how big their bows were. However, they don't have to stop in the game. Elephants were used incredibly rarely and were normally used for intimidation, not outright warfare, but they're used all the time in Rome Total War. Testudo formation was almost never used in real life and was more of a fallback tactic, like desperation, than anything else, but it's used all the time in Rome. But it was still used by actual historians as an approximation Like this is the best we
Yeah,
have
like
right now.
the Decisive Battles show, where they use Total War engine to show off all the various massive conflicts that you really can't show in any other way.
Massive.
Massive. Like, yeah, that's the thing. It's not perfect, but it's really close.
That would never happen today with the Warscape engine.
What do you mean?
I doubt they could use modern Total War to show off stuff from the History Channel with how the game works.
You could,
but that's a whole other.
You could.
They should use Pokemon instead.
Maybe with the new Three Kingdoms, because it is accurate in portraying how incompetent most Chinese armies were. But...
No, like.
Now we're shitting on Creative Assembly. Can we not do this?
Okay, we'll not.
Like I like Total War Warhammer, so please don't.
No, I like Three Kingdoms.
I do. I love it.
I'm not kidding when I say that Chinese armies were incredibly incompetent.
That's why you have all the generals do all the work, man. Lu Bu walks into a castle, and then 3,000 men kill themselves.
What you need to understand, there's a show, by the way, called Three Kingdoms, which I would strongly suggest. It's all subbed, unfortunately.
Which one? The 1990s one, or the
TV show? Yeah. I love it, and it's very accurate in showing that most of war in China was like the and their army supplies, and if they had more men and enough food, they just send the army in like a human wave and they'd win. That's just how it worked, because all that mattered was numbers and food supplies. That's it. But anyways, that's off topic, so let's get back.
I mean, if you slow down, if you modified the game to like slow down like the battle speed, you could use it to, because the thing is those Decisive Battles guys used a modified version of the game to make, well, their battles. So I mean, if you want to slow it down so it's a little more, slower pace, so they can actually do them that way, you could with the modern games, definitely.
That's a whole other discussion, I feel, for Total War.
That your game will suffer if you don't put players in the jackboots of the Third Reich. And once your map is something carefully designed to have good game...
I mean, you could.
Gotta put in that diversity haircut.
The question is,
what is up with that haircut? Like the purple and the brown?
It looks like it's taped onto him.
The question would be, how much his... So, suspension of disbelief is a topic we've already talked about, right? Which means when you're suspending disbelief, everyone has a snapping point. So, for me, I think the snapping point would be if there are no Nazis or German soldiers in World War II, I think that might be the snapping point. We're like, hold up a moment. I can accept that you have this machine gun 2 years early, or I can accept that you have absolutely no discipline whatsoever and you charge forward because you're all idiots, and that's how everyone plays first-person shooters. I cannot accept that there are no Germans in World War II.
Or Japanese, or Italians. Like, if you just take all those out, what's left? What? Anyway.
Yeah, so yeah, that's my point there.
Gameplay by a team in a room in San Francisco or LA, and it's not a faithful reconstruction of the actual places the historical events occurred in, you can no longer say we need to have players take up arms in service of terror or hate. And look, we're not saying we can't have games about World War II or about terrorism. We're not even saying we shouldn't make games where...
Yes, you are.
But
I love how they do this in like every single fucking video where they have like this enormously bad take, and they're like trying to cover their ass by like saying, we don't.
I know.
The shield of subjectivity has been raised, my lord.
This is like their equivalent to "I'm not a racist,
but."
I just need the people something to think off about the Jews.
But no, I need that. Where is it? Somebody give me my shields up meme immediately. The subjectivity shields have been raised.
They have.
Like they are saying that the way that games are allowing people to play as the German army in World War II is unacceptable. And so
it is.
I mean,
can I just say, I thought it was a funny meme when I first heard Mahler talk about people using subjectivity as a shield. Ever since he told us about that, I can't stop seeing it everywhere. It's like, Mahler, why?
Well,
why
I mean,
have you done this?
Alan, I have to play devil's advocate. It's like an easy fallback position. Like, for example, when I say I like Total War Warhammer 2, and then I'm like, yeah, but it's more of a subjective thing. I know it has problems, right? I have to, because like,
But you say it has problems.
That you acknowledge it, that's fine.
Well, I mean, it's like here, like I feel like you're saying you like something, and that everyone's entitled to their opinion. You're basically it's fine because you're basically saying like, okay, this is my perspective. Here, Extra Credits constantly makes these arguments, saying saying these things, and then tries to like say, oh, but you might think my argument is this, when like everything points to their argument saying that, but then they try to deny what it is.
Well, it's like when Tonald said, this video on Dark Souls is my opinion only. It's like that, isn't it?
In a way, but it's like, I mean, like you, and even then, like, I mean, you argue that they're wrong, like, and here it's almost worse because like because it's basically like what people who support Sarkeesian say are just like, oh, she's just trying to offer her perspective. Okay, but I can say your perspective is wrong, and because you constantly.
But then you get called a bigot.
Yeah. Then it's like, well, you guys have to be more open-minded. Okay, but I am being open-minded. I think you're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna make a 30-minute long video about why Transformers 2: Revenge of the Fallen is the greatest movie ever made, and I'm going to say at the very end,
oh Lord,
that's my opinion.
Dear.
Oh dear God! Oh dear Lord! That movie is so bad.
But that's just a theory.
A game theory. Oh, hold on, we can't say that. Matt will demonetize us. Pat's gonna get us.
Fucking hate Revenge of the Fallen.
Oh Lord, it's really bad.
It's one of the worst films.
Oh, remember the bit where when John Turturro's like, "I am directly beneath enemy scrotum."
I mean, I'm perfectly willing, and I am actually planning someday when I get off my lazy ass to make a video explaining why Food Fight is the greatest film that was ever.
Yep.
And I am saying that unironically. It is one of my favorite films of all time.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Nutcracker 3D is like, it's like my favorite bad movie, because when you think about the fact that somebody actually approved that script, you just can't help but laugh.
I refuse to acknowledge that Food Fight is bad. It is the greatest piece of work ever created.
Have you guys seen that new animated short with Tommy Wiseau and Greg Sestero?
I haven't.
No, I need to see it now, though.
Tommy Wiseau and Greg Sestero are gonna do like an animated space adventure thing together.
Oh,
that sounds awesome.
Yeah, they released the pilot and it was
funny.
fucking awesome. Yeah.
It sounds funny. He just goes into space. Oh, hello, aliens.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, let's get back to watching the video.
All right, we were watching a video.
Lies.
1 minute left.
Well, you play as a Nazi or a terrorist. But what we are saying is that the fact that you're playing as a Nazi or a terrorist in a game has to mean something. And it can't just be a skin.
This exactly.
But it can.
Exactly, I fucking knew he was gonna say it. It has to mean something.
I'm not playing when I play Friday the 13th. I'm not a serial killer when I'm playing as like Jason. Like, I'm not a serial killer IRL. Oh, I am a serial killer IRL, but that's different.
This only really applies if your game is narratively driven. I mean, like, if it's multiplayer only, then it really doesn't matter much.
They have to acknowledge the meta narrative.
Okay. Extra credits. I'm gonna level with you. It is okay to play a game where you play as the Nazis or you play as North Korea, because it is just a game. It is just a multiplayer game where there is no dialogue or debate about the ideology of Nazi Germany or the Democratic People's Republic of Korea.
Can I just say, when you were talking about North Korea, for whatever reason, I'm just imagining like a modern day fighting simulator and the different bonuses nations. I would love if they had that, but North Korea was the only one who got like a negative bonus of like starvation to all troops.
To like penalty minus 50% effectiveness.
In Rise of Nations,
loyalty increases by 100%, but negative 50% stamina.
In Rise of Nations, the Chinese have a perk or a bonus where their recruitment of citizen units is instantaneous compared to like the 10-second recruitment time that every other faction gets.
Oh.
So like the moment you click on citizen or recruit citizen, they'll just spawn immediately. So you can just tap that like.
Yep.
I want a modern day game now, like Age of Empires thing.
Well, we're getting Age of Empires 4, but I really want a Rise of Nations 2 or Rise of Legends 2.
Age of Empires 4. I just want Age of Empires 2.
I've never played an Age of Empires game, so maybe that'll be my chance to get
I
into
misheard
it.
you, and I thought and it sounded like the coolest game. Age of Vampires.
Whoa. Now you guys are
Age of Vampires.
What?
What's up?
Yeah, what's up?
No, in Age of Empires, you get to like, I think I go whoa, and then.
Rogan?
Oh, have any of you... Oh, that reminds me of something. Have any of you played Command and Conquer Generals?
No, moving on. No.
Alan!
Please, we're so close. We're so fucking close.
Okay, fine. It has a point. It has a point to this.
I have played it, but we should finish the video.
Okay, fine.
It can't be something that a game randomly drops you into. And really, if we are saying anything in this episode, it's this. Games can do better. And in this particular case, it's not even that hard to do better. And it's no more cost.
Yes,
I mean, you want to moderate everything? That's pretty expensive.
I fucking hate this guy's condescending voice.
I hate this guy's condescending voice too.
Yo, it's not
he
even
sounds
his
like a
voice.
dad that is trying to lecture you.
It's like it's not even his voice. Like all of James Portnow's writing just has like this fucking tone of like thinking he knows better than everybody.
I just hate when people use this term. E-man, I'm not angry at you, but I know you can do better. Okay.
I mean, what else wait, what else are we to expect from a narcissist like James Portnow, who condemns Gamergate for harassing women and then goes around actually harassing women himself?
Look, man,
it's internalized.
James Portnow, you are a narcissist. You are a hypocrite, and you should stop writing, and you should stop doing fucking anything professionally, because you are a garbage human being.
Look, Southpaw, personally, I get it. The only way you can truly judge a pedophile is if you go and bugger a few kids. That's the only way.
Jesus.
If you have experience with it yourself, then you can actually be a good judge about it.
Exactly. Which is why the only people who should judge rapists are other rapists.
Demonetized.
Anyway, let's continue this video because
to do better. All it requires is that we in the game industry be cognizant of the world around us and what these symbols we're drawing on mean.
Oh, you want to be cognizant here? Everyone calm.
Time.
Everybody, one at a time.
I just want you all for a moment, since he's asking for them to be cognitive, I want you all to send your brain waves to him, telling him no. Alright, I want you to concentrate and send it to all game developers mentally. Just no.
Hold on. I gotta boot up Cerebro.
I get that reference.
I understood
that. Do we have to sacrifice a goat to get the message through, or?
Alright, Quizerno, now you go.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it's so funny how predictable he is. Like, it's every single fucking time. It's just like we have to come together as we're gonna be. It's like, but Pat, like, have you ever seen American Psycho when Patrick Bateman like lists off all like the modern problems and is like, we have to come together as a people and everything, and it's like the most like pretentious bullshit. It's supposed to be.
Kumbaya, my lord. Kumbaya.
Like seriously, if you binged watched his videos and you took a drink every time this happened, you would be hammered by the second video.
All right, Southpaw, now you.
I mean, I don't really have much else to say.
Yeah, I feel like he had his rage. Are you?
Yeah.
I'm tapped out. Like I think that it's. I think
There's,
that this video is terrible. I think that the ideas that it spreads are terrible. I think that the ideas that that it's insinuating that Nazis are complete monsters who are incapable of changing and redeeming themselves is abhorrent. I think that the idea that like there's something so special about their ideology that you can't simply have the German army that was filled with grunts that didn't even necessarily believe in their ideology, that were just fighting for their nation, in spite of who their leader was, and they were conscripted to do it. They were forced into doing it. I think that's insanely ignorant. I think that the tone of this video is condescending. I can't stand the whole "we can do better" coming from someone who is an utter hypocrite on the issue of harassing women.
He probably likes that Gillette ad. Let's be fair.
Yeah.
To be fair, I like that Gillette ad. I haven't laughed that hard in a long time.
Oh.
He's probably not even a supporter of the Dawn. I think that James Portnow is a garbage human being. I think that this guy's voice is insufferable. I miss the high pitched.
I miss Chipmunk
guy.
Man. Bring him back.
I actually do. No, Daniel leaving was the reason I unsubbed from the channel.
Yeah, because honestly, even if James Portnow was the guy that was writing the stuff, Daniel Floyd was like the face of Extra Credits, and I don't know. There was something about his voice that I found charming.
I agree.
But this guy is just straight up condescension and irritating to listen to. He's awful.
He's a fucking
Can we go back to listening to No Name defend lollies?
No,
because then I would
wait. What else is left in this video?
Oh, let's find out.
Let's just blitz through it.
That we think as we're building, not just about the game we're working on, but about the world as a whole. If we can do that, we can take a big step forward for the industry. We can stop helping to normalize Nazis.
There you go.
Written by James Portnow. That right there would have been my cue to flip the absolute fuck out in seeing James Portnow's name up there under the writing.
If you hadn't figured it out a little earlier.
If I hadn't, I would have actually.
You would have been.
Lost
I can imagine it. You would have just been like, what? And like, here's the thing, though. What he says at the end there, I do have something to say about that, because like he says you should take the wider context of the world into consideration. A game I'm looking forward to that's gonna come out in November, Doom Eternal. Like, it was the demo for it was criticized because apparently people were thinking it was comparing refugees to demons. Remember that?
Oh yeah, because it has like the.
It was like, oh my god, this is incredibly insensitive, and like, I mean, I guess I can understand to an extent, but I don't know. It feels that's like one of those things where I'm like, maybe, but still, it's kind of pushing it, right? I guess that's one example.
Yeah.
You guys think of anything?
What are you saying as an example of? Sorry.
Well, like, he's saying we should take the context of the world, the wider world, into consideration. So the reason why people criticize the whole, Earth is the melting pot of the universe line is because it was implying that, like, at least the far lefties were like, oh, this is implying that the refugees are being compared to demons from another dimension that want to kill us all. And that's insensitive to the modern climate of refugees pouring out of Syria and such. Like, something like that.
So what you're saying is that if we play as Nazis, we want all the refugees to die horrifying death.
I mean, I think one thing that makes this video really frustrating to watch is, I mean, he doesn't really talk about what the fuck like normalization of Nazis is, because I mean, like, yeah, Nazis back then were a thing, and I mean, we're looking at history. Does he just want us to ignore history, or I mean, he's like, why is he trying to apply this to video games?
He never defines
because
what
the Nazis came back, and now we have
is.
to destroy them somehow.
He never defines why it's bad.
Yeah. Also, I just wanted to like make it clear here, like, so the German army that committed those atrocities, like when they were ordered to, again, like, pretty sure that they would have been executed if they disobeyed those orders, right?
Well, yeah, most likely they were given like orders of strict obedience. Like,
Yeah.
you obey or you die.
So I have this controversial opinion. While it wasn't moral of them to do, while it would have been a lot more for them to refuse and then basically die as martyrs, you do have a right to act in self-preservation.
Mhm.
And you do not, like, you should not be, I would say, forced to do something that will result in your death, even if it is the right thing to do. I don't think that it would be really fair to judge someone for acting in self-preservation, even if what they did to in that cause was immoral. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There is one
Because
thing though.
I am seeing arguments that, you know, the German armies, you know, they did fight for the Nazis, and that is true. But if they were conscripted and they had no choice but to obey, and yeah, like what they did was terrible. And I would hope that if I were in their position, I would be the person willing to die doing what is right. But I don't think that you can necessarily hold that against them if they also acted in self-preservation.
There is one issue with that, Southpaw.
Which is?
I don't want to make you upset for saying this, but like there was this whole thing when the soldiers, when the war was finally won, when all the leaders and all the generals were being put on trial for, you know, crimes against like decency and like just the horrible genocide, the mass murder, the rounding up, all that. So there was this idea about the clean Wehrmacht, where like, oh, all the soldiers in the U.S. The German army were a clean hands organization that had nothing to do with the genociding of the Jewish people. And this was proven to be false because the records show that the SS were just ordering them around, saying, go round these people up, bring them to us. They were completely complacent in doing this for them. And that is pretty bad. They weren't innocent of it. They still contributed to doing these horrible things.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
and I agree with that.
Which to that I just say, like, I mean, that's the thing. It's just, I mean, you can't really deny the fact that that was a problem. Like, these guys, whether they knew what they were doing or not, they still did it, and it's a crime either way. So,
sure, but like, I don't think that every single person that fought in the Wehrmacht was necessarily participating in that. Like,
yeah, definitely.
It's so. I mean, like, I'm not justifying the ones that were like rounding up the Jews into the gas chambers or onto the trains leading to Auschwitz. But I don't think that.
Like another example I could bring up, the German wars against the Russians compared to the war against the ones in the West. The Germans viewed it as a war of annihilation, where it was like a racial policy thing. So like they were ordered to kill like the Soviet prisoners wherever they could. That's another thing. Like, because they believed, the Bolsheviks were inferior and must be exterminated, something like that. Like, that's another example of, like, just, they were given these orders and they carried them out. It's just
I'm
very
gonna head
morally
out.
questionable.
I'm gonna head out because I'm hungry. I might come back later. I might not.
Before you go, I have something very important to say to all of you.
What's up?
Oh my god.
Some say he's still eating chicken to this day.
Okay. Alan, I might get.
That was pretty good.
Okay.
I regret.
But like, I'm not trying to dismiss what you're saying, Southpaw. It's just that, like, I mean, these people.
I'm not trying to spread the clean Wehrmacht myth. That's not what I'm saying at all.
But I will agree with you when I say not everybody who fought in the German army, like, they weren't like indoctrinated into the ideology and 100% were on board with it. Obviously not.
Yeah, obviously not. No,
yeah. Like, for example, one of my best ideas for, like, if you wanted to play as a German in a World War II game, you could have it so, like, your character, right? Character, quote unquote. He joins because he believes in the fatherland and he believes in the strength of his country and he wants to fight for, victory of his country. And like, you have a first battle in the game where, like, it's just a normal battle. You capture a town in Poland or so, right? And afterwards, all your guys are just celebrating, like, oh, we took the town, we did it. And then, a whole group of, like, dudes from an SS division come in, and there's this absolutely smug, like, super trench coat Nazi dude, and he literally tells all of your, like, squad, you need to go round up these people, and, like, your character refuses, and he literally has his men beat the crap out of you for refusing. And yeah, that would be a great example of, like, not everybody agreed with the ideology.
Yeah.
Right?
So I would actually point out someone who's talked a lot about this sort of idea and stuff is actually Jordan Peterson, and he's talked a lot. One of his lectures is about the mindset behind Hitler and Nazi stuff like that. And there's this tendency in America to try to view the Nazis as something other than human, which is very dangerous to do because it eliminates the possibility that we have to consider that we are perfectly capable. If any of us were Germans during World War II, we would be on those guard towers at Auschwitz. Like, I doubt any of us would refuse.
At least.
No, I know for a fact that if my family and my life was in danger, I would be on the guard tower. I am not going to put my family at risk for a bunch of strangers. That's just not. And anyone who says differently, I think, is not being entirely honest with themselves. So, even him saying, like, being a Nazi soldier and all that normalizes Nazis, it's important for everyone to remember that Nazis were human. We are all capable of doing what they did.
I mean, yeah, that's one thing I was going to rant about earlier in the stream. Like, one of the best movies I've ever seen is American History X. Has anyone here seen that?
No.
So it's about Edward Norton playing a neo-Nazi skinhead who goes to prison and undergoes some different experiences that lead to him like basically leaving the prison a changed man who is no longer a neo-Nazi. The problem is he has a younger brother who looked up to him prior to him going to prison and has become a neo-Nazi in the years that Edward Norton has been in prison. So Edward Norton comes out of prison no longer a Nazi and has to deal with saving his younger brother from the that whole brainwashing cycle. It's a very good movie. But, Edward Norton is playing a character who is very much not sympathetic in all of the flashbacks, but he undergoes growth and change and character development that's very meaningful and memorable. And it goes to show that, like, even neo-Nazis are people and they are capable of becoming better people. they are capable of changing their minds. They're capable of redeeming themselves even after they murder people. And that's an important thing to remember. And with videos like these, it feels like that's becoming less and less welcome of an idea.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Absolutely. It just sucks, you know?
Yeah.
Well, guys, I think since we're back down to the original 3 and we're done with the video, we have one of 2 choices. We should end it off here, or we could listen to No Name defend Lolicon.
Can we not? Can we not? I've seen that. I saw like 5 minutes. I saw like 5 minutes of that video. Why Lolicon must be protected.
I am opting out.
Me as well.
I have a few hours to go until I have to be in
Another day.
Yeah.
for work.
Yeah, that's good.
E-Man, you cannot avoid it forever. I'm going to make you watch through that with me, and you will listen to him defend Lolicon for 40 minutes.
How about this? I'll end the stream, and then we can watch it. Wait, it's 40 minutes? Oh my god!
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
all
anyway.
right.
So, Southpaw, thank you very much for coming on. This was therapeutic for at least 2 of us. I don't know if Alan thought this was good to vent about or just make fun of in general. I hope so.
Oh,
I just sit here.
Like, this video was so bad, like, it needs the evisceration it's getting. And I'm so glad it actually is.
Can I just point out real
Southpaw,
quick
you stopped.
Just because I want everyone to hear the groans, I'm just going to post in VC Text Talk. Just look at that thumbnail.
Let's see it. Let's see it. Oh my god!
That is
No.
that is someone who's under 18.
Yeah. Yeah, that's no thank you.
Alright. Night.
Thank you for joining me, Southpaw. Have a good night, man. And have a good day at work.
Thank you. I'll try.
Alright. Well, Aylin, we're gonna end the stream here. Everybody, thank you very much for watching. This was fun. And yeah, Nazis are bad.
Have fun.
Bye-bye.